Hey guys, Sean here, and welcome to the qualifying watch-along for the 2026 Australian Grand Prix. What are you all doing up? Are you mad? 4:30 here in the UK, just gone 25 to 5, if I'm telling the absolute truth. It's an early one, but I am so excited for this weekend. I hope you all are too. Let me know in chat. I'll do some shout-outs shortly, where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I've got a few things to run through, including the FP3 results in just a moment. But yes, very much looking forward to today. Although, if you're an Aston Martin fan, maybe go back to bed. I wouldn't expect too much from them today. Yeah, an interesting start, But yeah, so much to look forward to this season. I know a few people are very sceptical about these regs. Again, I said it in the preview, but I actually think let's give it a few races, see what happens before we start panicking too much about these new regulations. But I know some concern around the lack of pace around turns 9 and 10. But let's wait till we've seen these cars fully in anger first, because it might be all right. That's what I'm saying. It might be all right. So I hope you're all having a good Saturday. Doesn't feel like we're quite in Saturday yet, but we are. We have had all practice sessions completed, of course. 22 drivers on the grid this season, so the timing tower hopefully isn't too small for you. But George Russell set the fastest time this morning, 0.6 of a second quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Now, there were red flags today. We'll talk about Kimi, Antonelli in just a moment, but there were red flags today. Bit of a disruptive session, maybe. Things aren't so bad, but that's a big gap back to Lewis Hamilton, but only FP3, of course. Charles Leclerc about a tenth further back in third place. Piastri fourth. Isack Hadjar fifth, ahead of Max Verstappen. Actually, Hadjar, FP1. I didn't watch FP2 because, yeah. But FP1, he looked pretty rapid as well. So I think Hadjar's having a good start to the weekend. Let's hope that translates in quali. Max Verstappen P6, as I say. Kimi Antonelli was 7th, 1.2 seconds off his teammate, but had a big crash on the exit of turn 1 and 2. Essentially came through the corner, tried to put the power down, took too much curb on the exit of turn 1. Car got thrown round into the barrier on the right hand side. So not great. End of session. Team are trying to rebuild the car. Apparently the power unit and gearbox are fine. I think I heard Sky say at the start of that. They're saying Mercedes, everything's okay. So hopefully they can get that rebuilt for quali. It might be one of those last minute things, perhaps. We'll see. But hopefully Kimi can get out there. Lando Norris P8 with Gabriel Bortoleto 9th. Audi have looked good so far this weekend, haven't they? Haas in 10th. Arvid Lindblad 11th and Lawson 12th. Esteban Ocon 13th. Nico 14th. Pierre 15th. Franco Colapinto 16th. 17th for Alex Albon. 18th for Fernando Alonso. Yes, Fernando Alonso wasn't last and got some laps in as well. 19th for Bottas, 20th for Perez, 21st for Sainz, and 22nd for Lance Stroll. Carlos Sainz stopped on track with an issue, and Stroll never left the pits due to a suspected internal combustion problem. Yeah, not good, is it, for Aston Martin at the moment? Fernando Alonso chatting to Sky at the moment on the TV. I can't hear it at the minute, but yeah, not a great start. We'll talk about Aston in a moment, but they are your numbers. I've got stops on the... I realised the pit stops are still on the thing. I'll change that before qualifying. Don't worry about that. We'll have the track map as well, of course. But, yeah. I am excited. It is early, but I am still excited. And a bit apprehensive, but yeah, lots to talk about. So let's see where you guys are watching from today. First of all, thank you to Sab Mariners fan who's not from Grimsby. Good morning, mate. He says Aston is even more cooked than I thought possible. It might genuinely be 50-50 if Stroll hits the 107% rule. Thank you very much, mate, for your super chat and your continued support as always. Yeah, they got the 107% rule in practice, didn't they? So they can take part in quali, but it could quite easily be borderline for Lance Stroll today. Having said that, Fernando Alonso, 3.6 seconds off the pace, sure, but he was 18th ahead of both the Cadillacs, so that's better than it looked at the very start of the weekend, I guess. But yeah, hey to Mike says not going to sleep tonight. I struggled to sleep, actually. I went to bed last night at 9 o'clock. Like a 5-year-old. Disgraceful. Didn't get to sleep till about 12 and then was up at 3, so yeah. Going straight back to bed after this. Hey to Connell says, guess I'm napping for 4 hours, then go back to bed after quali. Hey to Dave as well, says, let's go. Absolutely. Pascal says, good morning, Sean in chat. Hope everyone is doing well. Impressed with Audi's pace so far this weekend. Yeah, me too. I was watching FP1 live. because I did the usual thing that I think, and I'm sure I'm not alone, a lot of F1 fans do, where you get up for FP1 for the first race of the season, go, and then 10 minutes in, you realise how boring practice tends to be. But it was actually quite a good session, to be fair. I'll give it that. It was quite a good session, to be fair. Lots of action. Hey to Flying Tiger says, smash that like button. Absolutely smash it. Jonty says, I am asleep. Lies. Josh says, good evening all. Let's hope it's a goodie. So for Sad Mariners fan, it's 11 p.m. on Saturday. Not bad. Pascal's in Scotland, so an early one there for Pascal. It's ass o'clock in the morning, says Flying Tiger. Friday, sorry for Sad Mariners fan. Hello from Adelaide. South Australia says Meso Data Systems. Neelesh says harvesting before turn 9-10. Hey mate, on race trim seemed like a lot, but I was surprised that they still had to break quite a bit for the complex. Yeah, I think that's the concern. Is that I read some stuff on the race last night, or the race.com, I should say, because that makes no sense, does it? But the race.com, and they were saying that from what they could see trackside, the drivers were lifting so much. And I watched the Piastri onboard that they linked in that, and it was almost as if it's not slow. They're still sort of coming in as flat as they're ever going to at the end of that straight with the harvesting into turn 9. But it's just not the same drama, the same excitement. It's one of the best little complexes in F1, that, for a bit of drama and car movement and risk. Although Max Verstappen had a big moment there, so there is still an element of risk if you push the limits. But that's a shame to see. But I'll come back to shout-outs in a second, but we have to remember, we came into this weekend, all through testing, we were being told this weekend in Australia is going to be a bit cack for these new regulations. We knew that. So we can't draw definitive conclusions from what we see this weekend, because China next week is a completely different track. Japan, again, is a completely different track in terms of characteristics. Then we've got a month off, by the sounds of it, until we go to Miami. So that's different. Again, it's going to be so difficult to really draw any conclusions till we get some more traditional tracks. So I'm not going to panic, but it does all. But the flip side is true as well. People are already declaring these a disaster, but we've seen 3 practice sessions on a track these regulations were never going to suit. But then you've got Martin Brundle not declaring them a complete success, but talking about how confident he is in these cars already after 2 practice sessions. And you think, let's all calm down. Let's not start declaring these positive or negative until we've seen it at multiple tracks. But I also appreciate that's not how the internet works. I need to take a stance, so stick a V12 in it. There you go. I've taken a stance. Morning, Neelish was the was the overarching story there. John says, remember to blame Prema F3 drivers. We'd be halfway through quali by now otherwise. Mads says, hey, Sean, everyone pumped for F1 to be back and to be able to watch it on free-to-air TV and at a reasonable time, since it's the only race here shown live in Australia that isn't on pay TV. Nice. I think we do that in the UK, don't we? We have the British Grand Prix is free. Of course, TV in the UK is never free. No, it isn't. You must pay your TV license. The man in the van will come. So, yeah, it's as free as it's ever going to get. Adrian says, welcome back, Sean. Good to see you again. I agree with Piastri. The launch off the start will be a concern. Turn 1 will be interesting. Yeah, that launch is a concern. It's turn 1. But did you see the Ferrari, Adrian, and everybody else in chat? Did you see the Ferrari on board? And it was Lewis Hamilton after FP1 at the start. Chow. Just a rocket ship straight off. Everyone else is sort of getting away okay or a bit slower, but that Ferrari, if let's say that grid is replicated today, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, those Ferraris surely are leading by turn 1, if not before. It really is. I think they've nailed that. So let's hope you don't get a situation where you've got a couple of Ferrari powered cars behind a couple of slow starting cars. Could get nasty, but that's why there are limitations over straight mode zone and all of that business, or straight zone mode, or whatever they're calling it, whatever. Hey to Cameron says, tuning in from New Zealand, finally able to join a watch along at a reasonable time for me. Hello mate, hope you're okay. Yeah, it's good. We moan here in Europe that we have to go through 2 or 3 early races a year. Oh, boo-hoo. So I'm never going to be like that. I enjoy the early races. I can have an entire day after this to do what I want, and that is going to be sleeping. But yeah, I'll not moan too much. Because I know you guys suffer for pretty much the rest of the season. So, hey to Anthony as well. Says George being smug makes me sick. I really hope almost anyone else wins. Anthony, not a George fan there. To be fair, I'm in the Mercedes merch because I love their merch. Same with last year's. I think it was the best merch on the grid. So I quite like the Audi one and the Cadillac one as well. So I might get some of those at some point. But I've just spent, some of you may have noticed, quite a lot of money on a new camera. So I may be in pajamas next time we're live because I might not be able to afford any more t-shirts. But yeah, no, I didn't. I wasn't a big George Russell fan. I've warned him a lot more in recent months. He seems less irritating to me, but there's still something about him. So I'm never going to be a huge George fan. But if Merc keep releasing nice merchandise, then maybe I will. Maybe I will become a massive George Russell fan. Yeah, I like George at Williams. I tell you what, George was at Williams, and I hope he can replicate that at Mercedes this season. I mean, he sort of did last season, didn't he, as well? But now they've got a car that looks like it can compete for the title. I hope we see that team leader George that we had at Williams. I'm not saying he wasn't team leader last year, but I hope he can continue that. But anyone else give a shout out to? Hayter Mohammed says this is the first session where teams aren't sandbagging. Yeah, and even then, we can't really draw too many conclusions from it because, again, the tracks are so different coming up. So, yes, let's a couple of other things to talk about because we are, 14 minutes away from quali now. So we better go through these. So there's been a little bit of frustration and a bit of a fuss over the last few hours. So the FIA took a decision just a few hours before FP3 that it was going to remove the straight mode zone that runs to the turn 9 left-hand kink, so between turns 8 and 9, basically. That was made on safety concerns because some drivers expressed some of their concerns on Friday evening in the usual briefing that the lack of downforce there posed an increased risk of crashing. That decision by the FIA at such short notice then caused quite a lot of anger in the paddock on Saturday morning, and teams and drivers decided to push back against it because they felt the impact of the removal of the zone brought with it dramatic implications that teams would have needed to sort out all new setups in the final hours of practice, and several elements related to car performance would have needed to have been redone. So, as an example, I suppose, cars staying in corner mode coming out of turn 7 through turn 8 and then staying in that mode all the way to turn 9 would have meant that you'd have to have a completely different energy management strategy, I suppose, because that high drag is going to drain the battery more, and then that ditches all the setup work from the first two practice sessions. So in response to that petitioning from teams and drivers, the FIA changed its mind with less than an hour to go before FP3, which frankly is good because their initial decision contradicted the whole we're not going to make any knee-jerk reactions promise, I suppose, that they made during testing. So I was pleased to see that U-turned on fairly quickly. It's just ridiculous. We're coming to a new set of regulations, and we are less than 20 minutes into the first Watchalong stream of the season, already slagging off the FIA, but it tells you all you need to know about this bloody sport sometimes. But it's just the fact that you've had all that testing. They let teams know the zones a week or so ago. The teams then plan their strategy accordingly. They then run all of FP1 and FP2 with those plans in place, and then just before FP3, the FIA say, "Now we're going to change it." You can't. You just can't. Especially when you think about the criticism of how the cars are looking through turn 9 and 10 anyway. Imagine that with no active aero between turns 8 and 9. Think about it. The pace is going to be even worse at the end of that straight. That it just baffling why they decided to do that. They say safety grounds. Apparently a couple of drivers complained, but I don't know why we're listening to a couple of drivers when the other however many 18, 90, 20 or whatever said that everything was fine. So I don't know why they did it other than FIA things, as Fud says in chat, traditions. Maybe that's it. I should have a beer then, shouldn't I? Bit early to be drinking, I think. Although in my younger days I'd still be drinking, but that's from the night before, so it doesn't count, does it? Friday long run pace, I made a note of this because obviously we can't really get too excited about the short run pace, the qualifying sims in practice, because you still don't really know what fuel loads people are running, but you can assume on a race run they're running higher fuel. George Russell about 7/10 quicker over the course of his 11-lap stint compared to Lewis Hamilton, a 23.7 versus a 24.4. So I think we're starting to see, and we saw it in FP3, we're starting to see Mercedes ramp things up a little bit. And yeah, I'm feeling more confident about my predictions in the preview. And actually, now I've mentioned the preview, very quickly while I just sort out this timing and then I can have to think about what I'm saying so much. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for your support on that preview. I went to bed on Wednesday night and it was at 3K-ish. And I thought, do you know what? If this does 5K on a 2K channel, I'd be very, very happy. I'd be ecstatic with that. I woke up to it at 19.1. It's now at 30K. So thank you so much to everyone for your support on that. I was really worried about it. Didn't think anyone would watch. And you've all come back in big numbers. So thank you so much for your support on that. But also thank you to everyone who's new, who's subscribed. So if you are completely new, then hello and welcome. Hope you're having a good day and you're ready for the new season. If you've come over from t'other place, then thank you as well for joining me over here. Quite a few found me through that preview, so really appreciate your support. That was truthfully, I did a little dance because it just meant that everything became even more viable again. So I was quite excited about that. So thank you. You're a bunch of legends. So, and as Thomas says, you can't miss the first tyre talk of the season. Exactly. And it was a good tyre talk. Sorry, I'm not checking messages as such. I just want to see. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for your support is the long and short. I've removed pit stops. I'll put pit stops back for the race. No, not doing race watch-alongs. What we're talking about, the race reaction tomorrow, I'll put the pit stops back on for. And just to confirm, I will be live with Mr. Chamber, who's made a comeback. I'm taking no credit for it, I promise. He's made a comeback. So Stuart's going to be with me tomorrow for the race reaction. I think it'll be around... I'm allowing 2 hours for the race tomorrow because of the fact that it could be chaos. So I'm thinking around 7 a.m. UK time, so about an hour after the race finishes. So I'll be live with Stuart for that. So we're both quite excited for that one, even though we'll be half asleep. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about the regulations, the race itself, what's going on at Aston. It'll be so much fun tomorrow. So please join us for that one. Really excited for that. 20 times jumping views compared to the previous. Yeah, there's that. But also, Neelish, if you go back to the other channel, the preview for Abu Dhabi, title deciding Abu Dhabi did 4.9k, and the preview for last year's Australian Grand Prix season open was 9.9. So it's blown those out of the water as well. In fact, I think the highest viewing preview last year on the other channel was 10.1. So it's highly likely that comes down quite a bit for China, but that's a great way to start the season. So it's got me hyped for the weekend, it's got me hyped for the season, and it's got me really revved up for some content creation. So but yeah, it feels like the old days again. People keep telling me that. It feels like the original days, you know. So I'm going to start reaching out to people as well that we used to work with a lot in streams. You know, Will, see if Aldas is free. I think he's on holiday, Aldas, so at the minute, but we'll see if he's available, or anybody else as well, just to get that community feel back. I know Jonty's quite excited for that as well. So yeah. Also, if you didn't know, on your multi-viewer app, you can customize your colors for teams. Unfortunately, they don't show up on the coding thing that I get from multiviewer for the timing tower, unfortunately. But I have on my map and on my timing got the Alpines as pink. I've changed the color of the Racing Bulls and of the Audis. So definitely head into accessibility and make those tweaks. And while we're on things about accessibility and whatever else, the visuals, I suppose, the new Sky Sports intro, dreadful, but that's probably me showing my age. Much prefer the old music, bit more dramatic, bit more build. That was terrible. Yes, see Neelish and me on the same page. Hey Annette says, evening all, sorry I'm late, no worries, hope you are having a good weekend and enjoying what we've seen so far of F1. I will say actually, Annette, Piastri looks pretty decent so far, doesn't he? I know we've got a long way to go this weekend and this season, but seems to have had the upper hand at McLaren thus far. So hopefully an Aussie on the podium, we'd take that. I'd like to see him do that. So definitely. Anybody I've not said morning to yet. Hey, Lara says, you're the reason I got into F1 in 2016. Of course, we will come back. Thank you very much, Lara. I hope you well. I know the name. Good to see you again. Anthony says, smash the like button or hit the like button. Absolutely. Hater Fud. Hater Christine says, good morning. Hey, Christine. Hope you're okay. And I think that's everybody pretty much. But I'm going to now put my sound on my TV in my headphones so you won't hear it, but that's fine. Because we are about to go qualifying for the first time in 2026. I've been watching F1 for so many years, but I still get that really exciting gut feeling. It could be indigestion, but it's yeah. Those butterflies. What does James May call it? The fizz. I still get the fizz. I get really excited for. And I know what he's talking about. It's not stomach, is it? I just get giddy. I can't help it. Tomorrow, start the race. I'll have butterflies, but yeah. Oh, it's going to be good. Hey to the Game Cat says, guess I'm back with Sean for the next 5 years. Thanks to this Apple TV BS. Greetings from the, is it Koval Strait in Las Vegas? Yeah, I've seen a few people complain about Apple TV. I'm not sure what the agreement is or the deal is there. So I might have a look into that so we could talk about that either tomorrow or next weekend in the Quali Watch Along. But yeah, just to confirm a few things, bit of housekeeping for you. While we get set up, of course, no live footage in this stream for obvious copyright reasons. It would be illegal for me to steal F1 footage, and all that hard work to get the channel to this point would be shut down immediately. So yeah, I can't show you the footage, but we have got live timing courtesy of the awesome folks over at Multiviewer for F1. You can have a look at the app yourself and download it. Link in the description. It is free to use, but you will, or free to download, but you will need some sort of F1 TV subscription. Access is fine. So thank you to those guys for allowing us to use this in testing and of course over the course of this season. I'm live for Quali. We're going to talk you through it. My terrible BTEC Crofty impression hopefully won't come out, but I suspect it will. And then I'll be live for a good half an hour or so after the session so we can sort of debrief everything that happened. No race watch-alongs this year. I briefly explained it in testing, but appreciate 9-hour streams. That's going to get lost. But the reason for that is I want to go back to being an F1 fan and not some kind of budget broadcaster, Poundland broadcaster. So I want to go back to being a fan, watch me racing, and we'll bring the race reactions back. So I think, to be honest, and this is the feedback you've given me as well, I think a lot of people in agreement here. A lot of people prefer the race reaction to the race watch along, and I agree. So we'll do the race reaction live tomorrow, about an hour after the race finishes. So 6:30, 7 a.m. somewhere around there. But yeah, Jonty, this could be a long one. We could get plenty of red flags. I think I've got my flags set up okay. I have indeed. Good. So ready for that. I'll have to move my stream deck so I don't. Yeah, I'm full on cliche YouTuber now. Shure SM7B, Sony ZV. E10 Mark II, Stream Deck, ready to go. There you go. Cliche all over. Love it. So you need Apple TV to get F1 TV in the US. It raised the subscription price for US viewers and made us have to go through a third party, which is BS. That does suck. That does suck, actually. Yeah, let me think about that. Annette prefers race reactions. They're just better. A lot of you I don't see in the chat during the races because you've gone off to watch the race because you're F1 fans, but also it's very difficult to really pay much attention to the race when you're running a stream. It's not so bad in quali because you can watch one driver at a time, but in the race you're sort of watching everybody at once and trying to find the battles when it gets a bit boring and trying to entertain people when it all gets a bit flat. I'd rather watch the race myself, come back and spend 2.5 hours. Yeah, F1 word 90 minutes for race reactions, 2.5 hours, and talk about it post race. Way more fun as a community. So, yeah, that's why. It might change for things like if we get a massive, super close title decider in Abu Dhabi, I might go live for that because that's something that we can all enjoy together, but not for the bulk of the season. The race reactions, I said it again, I'll say it again. Last time I was saying it, should never have been got rid of, and the race watch along should never have been a thing. But you know, I thought. There you go. In Canada, we still can't just get F1 TV app on iPhone without Apple TV. That feels a bit scammy. Maybe being a little bit unfair there, but that does feel a bit scammy. You've got to pay for F1 TV, and then you've got to pay for Apple TV as well. That feels, well, yeah, the way the world's going. Everything needs a subscription. Jonty put something on Blue Sky about this yesterday. Why does a light bulb need a subscription? Goodness me. It's old man alert. I won't be live. I'll be sleeping for Monaco, Anthony. It's the best sleep you'll get all year. Although this year it might be quite fun in Monaco. Should be pretty good for these regs, but they still won't be able to overtake. We are 5 seconds away. We are go for qualifying in 2020. The season has officially started. I know practice counts, but yeah, this is where it really matters. Our first indication of where everybody is. Qualifying is underway. Q1, of course, we're losing 6 cars this year in Q1 and then 6 cars in Q2. And we will still have a top 10 shootout. And just for those who asked, a few people asked this actually in the comments in the preview. The points positions for the race haven't changed. It's still the top 10. They've not extended to 11th or 12th place. So top 10 for points tomorrow. Top 10 shootout today. So very much looking forward to this. So we're going to have a lot of cars on track very early on by the look of it. So, that Audi still looks dreadful. Worst time to look at the TV, side shot of an Audi. Are those spots of rain? Maybe not. Maybe just dust. I don't know. But you never know. But we are... Yeah. We do get extra minute for Q3 too. Yeah. Which, does anyone else think that the extra minute would have been better for Q1 rather than Q3? There's 22 cars. Well, assuming Aston go out, there's 22 cars. Alonso's at the end of the pit lane and Aston Martin will be on the track. But yeah, that made more sense to me to have the extra minute in Q1, but Trance is here. Hey, mate. He says, let's go Bottas and Hamilton. I was able to use my F1 TV sub to log into Amazon and watch it on my TV that way, says Killjoy. That's an option if you've got a Fire Stick. There are also more creative ways to watch F1. I'm sure you'll work it out. We're going to watch Nico Hülkenberg first here. He's going to get traffic at the end of the straight. Norris on pit exit, but should stay out of the way. Did he stay out of the way? I didn't see him, so he must have done. Yes, he has. So Hülkenberg starting his lap. Can't really listen to the engine noises to let you know about harvesting and lifting and coasting, or whatever you want to call it. Lyco, Ferrari were using it, so difficult. But I try and do it visually as best I can. The lights on the back of the cars don't seem consistent across the teams either in practice at times, but hopefully that's not something that carries on this season. And by the way, I will have my one moan about these regs, despite everything I said at the start. I shouldn't be mentioning the words lifting and coasting in qualifying. Qualifying should be lowest fuel, softest tyres, flat out. We're on board through 9 and 10. Oh. If you're watching and you watch Hülkenberg go through there, he was backing out of it. So he was slow anyway, but that just looked... Ugh. But hopefully we'll get a proper on board or somebody go through there flat out. Yeah, a lot of people not happy in the comments about the Apple TV situation. Understandably, I think. We pay a lot for Sky in the UK, but at least it has to go through 2 different people for it. But yes, Hamilton is on mediums according to the timing, so I'll keep an eye out for him on track, see if that is the case. Norris is going to wind up for a lap now. Ready to go. Start procedures this year. Albon fastest, by the way, 1:21.802. The start procedure for tomorrow, they are using the testing one that we watched. The 5-second spin up for they're calling it a pre-start because everything needs a name. Calling it a pre-start. So yeah, I agree. Miss CZ. Audi needs to lean into the red because it's popping. It's just big slide from Lando Norris on the exit or through turn 3 really there. Very sideways, so not a totally clean lap. Norris not looked rapid to this point, but long way to go. Alpine actually, as they pop onto the timing tower there, 4th and 5th. Colapinto is going to lose his lap time, I think, for track limits. But Alpine have been a bit meh so far this weekend. But this is where it matters. This is where it really matters. So Anthony said we need at least 30 to 40 more likes. Yes, definitely. For both Ferraris on the mediums, yes. I don't know what they're up to there. At least it's not the wets, which is supposed to start, isn't it, for Ferrari? A step in the right direction. Look at that track map. It's loaded. And we've still got a number of drivers in the pits. Hadjar, Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz and Stroll. Antonelli not on track yet. They were getting things ready at Mercedes, so hopefully he can get out on track very, very soon. Hopefully. We've got 13 minutes to go, though, in this session, so lots of time for this to all change. Bortoletto's purple, and Piastri goes fastest, by the way. 1:20.552, but Bortoletto's flying out there at the moment. Hamilton up to second, 0.3 off Piastri. Very early days. What was pole last year, chat? While if anyone could Google that for me super quick, I'll do it myself after the session, but after the Q1. But if you get there before me, let me know. Bortoletto fastest on a 1:20.4. Nice opening there for Bortoletto. Nice. Martin Brundle saying there that he thinks Audi are the best of the rest after the top four. So we all thought it was going to be Haas, didn't we, after testing? So what a start. I mean, a long way to go, like I keep saying. Here comes the title favourite, Mr. George Russell, at the moment. So that might be about to change. But what a start for Bortoletto. Pascal, I imagine, is screaming, stop it, stop the count. Let's end it there right now. 1:15.09. So 1:15 yesterday. Last year in Australia for pole. So we're a long way off that. We're on board with George. We stay on board through here. Stay on board for the chicane would be nice. They might come off board because they won't want us to see what that's like because of the criticism, but I'll let you complain, chat, when you listen to that on board. This is qualifying, by the way. And if I hear Crofty have to explain super clipping one more time, I'm going to fly to Australia and gag him. Drive it every 10 minutes. Super clipping. Yeah, all right, fine. If you have to explain the rules every 10 minutes, they're maybe too complicated. But anyway. My God. A 19.8 from George Russell. What's Leclerc going to do? On the mediums, a 20.7. So George Russell well clear at the front at the moment. They are getting... How's Anthony's car looking? Just over 10 minutes ago. Anthony's ready. He just needs to get in the car as soon as they're still working on it. So looks like he's ready to go at short notice. That's good. I know. The new porpoising ads... Oh. I don't mind, F1... and Sky explaining the new rules, but it doesn't need to be every 15 minutes. He did it in practice. He went, people are joining all the time. Let's explain what super clipping is. Google it. Google it, for God's sake. Car goes slower than it should, basically. That's my analysis, and it's not even correct. Is that a new grandstand on the final corner at Out Park? It looks... Or has it always been covered? It's always been covered, hasn't it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ignore me. I know they've got a new Sky Bridge. I watched the YouTube video on that, the official F1, the official Australian Grand Prix YouTube channel. They've built a new, what do they call it? It's the bridge that goes over the start-finish straight. They've built a new one of those. So apparently got a bit congested there at times, which I can imagine. It does. But we have a hairdressing place in Canada called Super Clips, said Anthony. Gantry's a great word anyway, to be honest with you, Killjoy. It could be gantry. They've got an actual name for it. It's a footbridge, basically. They've got another name for it. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, somebody will know. Lindblad's on a... I tell you what, Lindblad's looked good so far this weekend. Probably stick it in the wall now, said that. Seems to be the better of the two racing bulls, which is good to see. So... He's purple in the middle sector, 17.4. Russell did a 17.599. Half a second off in the first sector, to be fair. But over the line he goes. So that's a great lap from Lindblad. P2 at 1:20.4. Really has had a good start to the weekend. Good stuff. Hadjar up in third as well, which is fantastic to see. Verstappen yet to do a time. He's on one now, 41.4 in the first sector. That's a personal best, but he's not done a time yet, so it's not a competitive time. Bridge to gantry popped into my head. Yeah. I like the word gantry. It's a good word. Lawson's lost his lap time for track limits at turn 2 on his 6th lap. Norris over the line. Goes fourth, 1:20.4. I have no idea what the cutoff is going to be. Everything is guesswork in his opening few races. which I'm fine with. I don't want to know. I want my predictions to be wrong from Thursday. That sounds stupid given I'm competing with you guys. Overpass is a good idea. Yeah, that could be overpass is a good word, actually. But yeah, I want to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, then it means it's completely unpredictable. The best predictions are wrong predictions, because it means that we've had a good weekend. Lando hasn't been great this weekend. I will admit that, it has been quite messy at times. But I wasn't expecting McLaren to turn up this weekend and be, oh, Verstappen's in the wall. And it's a biggie as well. Oh, not a biggie. Bouncing across the ground. That's it for Verstappen. He's going to be starting right at the back. Unless he can get that going, get the front. Oh, he's damaged the front suspension, surely. First flying lap. Where is he? That's going to be a red flag, as you'd expect. He is at turn... Where is he on the map? I can't find him anywhere. Turn 1. So he's sideways into the wall. Interesting. So that, Martin Brundle making a great point. Now that helps Kimi Antonelli build the car, but Verstappen in the wall. Antonelli straight in the car. Right, let's go, lads. Let's go. But we have a red flag. Max Verstappen has crashed at turn 1. So we cut to him as he's bouncing across the gravel sideways. I don't know what that was, but there, we're going to see it now. So down the start, finish straight. Over the line to start his lap. I'm going to say he's going to drop it. Surely just turn in and drop it. Yeah. Rears locks, or did he touch the grass? Need the off board. Something locked up at the rear, or he touched the grass. No. Rear's just locked. Everything stopped at the rear and it just sent the car around. Oof. Yeah, that's not a mistake. That's... Wow. So his brake, the rears have completely locked up and it's sent him round. A little bit like Lance Stroll in testing, if you recall. So that's not driver error. I don't think you could. You don't call double lock up at the rear. No, that's not a double. The car just flipping locked on the rear axles. Fantastic, he said. So, yeah, PMC 44 says, I said, where is Verstappen? And that happened later. Yeah, it's all your fault. Max, okay, he's looking at his hand, but he did go into the wall relatively heavy. I think relatively heavy. I think he might have a bit of a sore bum because as he came across the gravel, the car really took off and came back down again with a thump. So pit exit is closed, obviously, because the red flag is out. But yeah, Max Verstappen out. The session needs to be right down the back. This gives Mercedes a bit of time to get Antonelli ready, so that's good. A positive for Mercedes, but yeah. Shame for Max Verstappen, but it does also mean that if we're going to get some overtaking tomorrow, at least we've got a fast car out of position. So, Cadenza. Hey, Cadenza says, the delay on Apple TV is bad somehow. I'm getting your reaction to events before they happen. That is a bad delay. That was a bit more high-pitched than it needed to be. My voice is finally broken at nearly 40 years old. That is a bad delay. Yeah, because there's a 10-second delay from me saying this and you hearing it. I'm in the future. How exciting is that? So, although streaming tends to be a little bit behind, doesn't it? Someone will explain it to me again in chat. We have this conversation for about 30 times a year. But yeah. Golf Balls is laughing. Have you got a new profile picture, Golf Balls? That looks different. Because they use the ats now, I have to try and remember you by your picture and your at and your name, so please don't go changing. Especially Neelish, don't change your profile picture. You're not allowed. Sad Mariners fan ain't allowed. Flying Tiger's not allowed. None of you are allowed. Or John. I know who Jonty is. I'll always see Jonty. There'll be a Larry comment in there somewhere about Fallout. I'll soon spot him. Yeah, Verstappen's out of qualifying now. Yeah, he won't get back. It's not the same as testing where if they recover the car, they can get going again. But, yeah. Disaster for Max Verstappen. Bit annoying, but there you go. Okay, I obviously didn't spot. I also don't pay enough attention to your golf balls in testing. As harsh as that sounds, obviously didn't spot it. We did a lot of talking in testing, to be fair. They were long days, so there you go. Yeah, it was double rear. It was a double rear lock. What I was going to ask is, can it still be driver error, or is that fully a mechanical thing? A car, not necessarily problem, but something the car's going to do. The driver can't. Can they control that? I think they can. I mean, fronts, lock up the fronts, yeah, but yeah. Yeah, you should have done, Adrian. Yeah, you'll have to grow it back, mate. You'll have to grow it back. Yeah, but that he's not touched the grass, not driver error. That looked like just a bit like Lance Stroll in testing. And somebody else this weekend did it, didn't they? I think had a spin. Was it Perez? At turn 4. Could be Super Trooper clipping. Yeah, could be. Could be. So he's not hit the barrier that hard. Hard enough. The gravel's done its job to slow him down, but it's just he does just take off. Oh, that's a bumpy ride, isn't it? Hard enough. But yeah, session starting in about 4 minutes again, so we'll be ready to go. I'll put the green flag out and ready to go, but that's where we're at the moment. Red flag across the circuit. Frustrating. But, fast car out position, first race. Let's be honest, there could be quite a lot of retirements tomorrow. It could be a race of attrition. He could still end up about 3rd place. It's Max Verstappen as well, as the bird flies out the way. Brown trouser time. Do birds wear trousers? Probably not. Surely the driver controls the brake pressure. These regulations are insane, says Lewis. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to work out. Obviously, if he double locked up the fronts and then Antonelli's ready to go out, by the way. Good news. But yeah, if he'd locked up double front and then gone straight on into the wall, then that's on the driver. But I'm just wondering how much control they've got over the rears. But I suppose because they're are they still brake by wire? I've been so focused on the regulations themselves, I've forgotten how these cars actually functioned before. Are they still powered by steam, John T? If you're there, mate, are they still powered by steam? A pneumatic fluid. That's one for Thomas. 2 crashes already. Yeah, Antonelli's coming out now. We're 1 minute 50 away from getting going again. John says that was 100% something with the balance between regen and brakes. Yeah. What's the lighting like on the camera while we've got a minute? It's quite bright, isn't it? I might tone that down a bit for future streams. Pasty arms, so, these Mercedes have a real tough time figuring out how to queue. Yeah, George Russell hit somebody in the pits, didn't he? Lindblad on Friday morning. So it is still brake by wire. Thank you, Raoul. Hope you well, mate. Good to see you. But yeah, we are ready to go. We're just waiting now for the green flag, waiting to get going. Ready for hopefully an uninterrupted final 7 minutes and 29 seconds. Martin Brunner with a bold prediction. John C. putting you to shame, says he thinks anyone who finishes the race tomorrow will be in the points. So he's expecting a lot of retirements and gremlins with these cars. It wouldn't surprise. See, I said 15 finishes. I thought that was bold. Then John C. went 14. Martin Brunner thinks 10. Which is going to be interesting, isn't it? Tomorrow, that'll be a chaotic race. Lots to debrief. So join us for the race reaction. While we're waiting to get going, please do drop a like on the stream. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in this early or late, wherever you are in the world, or beautiful times if you're in Australia, I imagine, and New Zealand and elsewhere too. Yeah, please do drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you're new. Lots to come this season. Live tomorrow, about an hour after the race, with the race reaction. Then back on Wednesday with the Chinese Grand Prix preview. Thank you again for your support on the Australia preview. Then definitely live for quali next Saturday and the race reaction on Sunday. Might do sprint quali watch along, but I might be doing something on the Friday, so I might not be able to. So I can't commit to that until I won't know until Thursday evening for that. So might do sprint quali watch along, might not, depends how I'm feeling. We are green for we're going, and we'll be going now for 19 seconds, so there you go. I'll turn the flag off in a bit, don't worry. It's a bit in your face, but I quite like using that box for flags. It'd be good on mobile, you'll not miss it. So Anthony, wait to squeeze out. Is that Alonso? It is Alonso, good. Again, ahead of the 2 Cadillacs, which I think not what they'll have expected with Lawrence Stroll's investment to bring in Adrian Newey, but I think if Alonso can qualify ahead of both the Cadillacs, I think that's a win this weekend for Aston Martin, frankly. Intrigued to know whether or not he can do the full race tomorrow. I know he's saying 25 laps is the maximum, but I mean, look, Aston, we can talk about them later. We'll talk about them tomorrow. We'll talk about the most to start the season, I imagine, but absolute fustercluck. And they've not even got any spare batteries. They've got 2 batteries left, and they're both in the car or cars. I mean, Jesus. It just can't get any worse. I should have said that. Sorry, Fernando. Can't get any worse. Can't get any worse. I'm in New York, but same time. So they're talking about times in the chat. Emily's in New York. So New York is... So you've just gone past midnight, haven't you? 5 hours behind us. It's is it next week that the clocks move in the US for daylight savings? I've got it in my head that we're the last Sunday of March, but I've got a feeling the US is next week for some reason in my head. I might be wrong. It is. Oh, there you go. I know. See, I know something. I know my name and when the clocks change in the US. It's all you need in life. Don't need to know anything else. Don't worry about tax returns. Sunday. Oh, so this Sunday. Oh, yes, first full weekend in March, yeah. We're the last one, aren't we? We're the last weekend in March, and you're the first... Yeah. I've got it in my head somewhere, but it's okay. So my times might be wrong in the preview, but I'm not sure. If they were, I apologise. I'm sorry. I proofread the session time graphic at about 30 times. I use all my fingers and all my toes as well to work it all out. On board with Lindblad. We're going to be staying on board, hopefully, on a run. So this super clipping is already happening as they go under the bridge before they get to the corner, and then just... So turn 9 and 10 has gone from being one of the best little complexes of on a F1 racetrack to a nice, easy, slow chicane. I mean, I slow. Come on. Slow's ridiculous. They're still quick, just not as quick as they were. Yeah. So Lindblad not improving now, but does stay P4 still. Really good session so far. Lawson goes up to 9th place, does improve. Hamilton's gone purple in the first sector, 27.9. We got pretty much, apart from Sainz and Stroll, a full track because Albon's coming out. Sorry, Colapinto's coming out and Hadjar's coming out. So I need to change the colour on the Williams as well, don't I? Antonelli, a pit lane infringement. He's an investor or noted for that. So I'm guessing that's the cue. Got a nice full track out there. That's good to see. Hamilton, purple in the first sector. Personal best in the middle. A 10th, less than a 10th. About 100th down on George Russell's time. So he's in the mix here. But still on the mediums, though, which is interesting. Russell's now gone purple in the first. So Hamilton goes fastest on a 19.8. Don't forget, this is just about the bottom 6. So at the moment, Stroll and Sainz, they're heading out. Unless Sainz can get on track. But looking... Is he down at turn 1, Sainz? Or is that just Verstappen's dot where he crashed? Yes, it is. So Sainz is on track. So Sainz and Stroll gone. Verstappen gone. So this is there's only 3 cars going to drop out from those on track at the moment. So Perez and Bottas and Colapinto, currently those 3. Hamilton purple in the middle sector as well. And it's quite the middle sector. Brace yourself. Considering he keeps to go. Piastri's a 19.6. That's a nice lap from Piastri. Track rubbing nice. Nice little toe as well for Russell. And he does a 1:19.507. That's a little smirk from Toto and a look at the camera. Cheeky. Oh, we've lost our sandbags. What's happened? Terrible. Charles Leclerc lock up on the right front into turn 3. Goes very deep. A little bit on the grass, not much. Rejoins. Flat spot, though, so no improvement there. But it looks like... I'm just trying to work out who's improving. We've got 1:50 left. Norris is 8th at the moment. Hadjar 7th. It's just, I've got to say, field spread. We said 3.5 to 4 seconds in testing. We're not far off that. But if we ignore the Cadillacs, not that we want to ignore them, but if we ignore them for a second, the field spread is 2.7 seconds between 1st and 17th. So that's not too bad. Cadillac were always going to be slow, is my point there, or slowest. Yeah, Antonelli 4th. So, actually, considering they've had to rebuild the back of that car, Norris goes 4th now. That's a great first lap from Antonelli. But Norris will be a bit more comfortable there. Lindblad improving in the first sector, nothing in the second sector. Overall, though, he stays 7th. Where's Hadjar? Hadjar's carrying the baton now for Red Bull in this session, of course. That is a cracking lap from Antonelli, you know, when you think about it. Straight out of the pits, puts in a lap that, all right, is 6/10 off his teammate, but not bad at all. And he can improve from there if he needs to. What's he doing at the moment? Obviously not on a hot lap. At the moment, he might do yet. Hadjar nearly in the back of an Alpine there. That was Gasly, wasn't it? Hadjar goes 5th. Seen a lot of that this weekend. Here goes Alonso. What's your good pole? No, he's not anywhere near. What's he going to do? 16th, 2.4 off the pace. He's on the bubble here. Albon improves to 13th. Here we go. Last few seconds of the first session. Q2 and Q3 still to come. Here goes Sergio Perez. Bottas goes 18th. Perez is improving, goes 18th ahead of Bottas. So Perez at the moment, there is a checkered flag, out-qualified. In fact, has out-qualified his teammate. So the battle of the, as I keep calling it with the greatest of respect in the world, former number 2s, Perez takes the first point there in qualify. So well done to him. Good stuff. So we've lost... It's the bottom 6, isn't it? So we've lost Colapinto, Perez, Bottas, Verstappen, Sainz and Stroll. Obviously, Stroll never went out. Sainz never went out. Verstappen crashed at turn 1. His car threw him into a spin. So, yeah, that's an interesting bottom 6. Alonso's through. Sure, you would assume Verstappen would have got through had he not had his moment, but he did, so he didn't get through. So he might have gone out then. Bearman drops a place. So I've still got laps being completed at the minute, which is quite weird. It seems like we've been stopped for a while, but here comes Colapinto. Can he sneak through? He does. Alonso is out. Sorry, Fernando Alonso fans. I didn't realise Colapinto was on a really decent lap. He's gone up to 15th place at 1:21.2. But I think, is that everybody? Yeah. There you go. Colapinto 15th. Nice. So you can go to another lap, can't you, straight afterwards? Is Alonso on a lap? No, he's not. He's pitting. So Alonso is out now in the end. But the fact he was that close to going through is pretty decent when you think where they've been this weekend. But Antonelli, thank you guys. You're the best, he says. Has put it 6th place despite all that drama. So great stuff. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, John T. What more Ferrari got on the softs? There's quite a big delta between the compounds this year, isn't there? So that'll be why that's significant. So we'll keep an eye on them in the next session. But then the track's going to ramp up again. George might push a bit harder, so he'll have more time too. But that's interesting. That's 3 different teams in the top 3. Russell, Piastri, Hamilton, Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari. So competitive, which is good to see. We want it to be competitive, right? We want as many cars. If we're going to have a top 4 and then the rest of the field, we want that top 4 of teams to be as close as possible. So, A-Ward is a shame the cars are 4 seconds off the previous year's pole time. Yeah, it tends to happen at the start of a new rules era anyway, doesn't it? We tend to be quite a way off the pace, but we've still got... that time's going to come down again a bit more, but in 3 years' time, we'll be in awe at how these are beating the times from 2025. Oh, you'd hope anyway, but yeah. So this is team radios here. Bottas saying first quali done of many. The only way is up. Let's go. I don't think, look, of those who set a time, Cadillac at the bottom 2, we expected that. 3 seconds off the pace for Perez, 3.7 for Bottas. I think if you'd offered Cadillac that a few weeks ago, they'd have taken it. So not bad. Max is out. Yeah, he had a crash at turn 1. Trying to think how to explain it. So went down the straight, obviously on the run to turn 1, hit the brakes, rear axle completely locked up, sent him into a spin, and he was in the wall, and that was that. So got to watch him come back through the field tomorrow, which, you know, I'm looking forward to. Could be interesting. Seeing Max come through the field in Australia. Tough track, though, to overtake on. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, we've got the maximum delta time stuff that is just an absolute waste of typing or whatever. But, look, they have to follow procedures, I know. But all of that's going to be cars getting out of the way, mitigating circumstances, no problems, move on. So, we'll not worry too much about it too much. Yeah. Adrian says Max will need a flux capacitor attached to the battery come tomorrow. Any Back to the Future reference is greatly appreciated in chat, by the way, always. Possibly my favourite trilogy. Do we call it a trilogy? It's a continuing story, isn't it? But it's still a trilogy, I suppose. Whatever. It's my favourite. I love it. I love Back to the Future. The entirety of the back of his car is going to be gone, says Emily. Given Caddy of outqualified Aston William on merit, they will take that, says Raoul. Yeah, no, merit is a fair point. In terms, I mean, Sainz and Stroll didn't get out on track, so in terms of a fair shootout, no. But Cadillac's cars were able to start the session, so on merit in that respect, yeah, absolutely. Their cars were on track. The Williams and the Aston Martin of Sainz and Stroll weren't. So yeah, it's definitely a trilogy. Thank you, Cadenza. I can't remember. There is a series that people call a trilogy that other people get mad at being called a trilogy, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah. Good to see Hadjar through. Yeah, Hadjar in it's Q2. Still got Q2 to do. We're a little bit behind Perks here because we had a red flag for Max Verstappen's crash. So we have still got Q2. But yeah, still Hadjar through, which is great to see. So very, very happy for Hadjar. The timing hasn't reset, which is interesting. I'm hoping that does reset in a moment and it's not going to cause me problems, but we'll see. Yeah, Godfather. It could be Godfather. Could be Godfather. Listen to Ant Davidson's analysis of Max Verstappen's crash. He knows what he's doing, does Ant? So he's saying there's something not right, listening to it back. So saying not driver error. It didn't look like a driver error. There we go. They've reset. Lovely. He definitely doesn't touch anything on the left-hand side. It just, yeah. The axle just locks. The rear axle locks. Round he goes. Big shunt. Big-ish. Yeah. Just bounces it across that gravel. I know gravel does that, but yes, if you are just tuning in, Max Verstappen out of the session after a crash. We've also lost Stroll and Sainz, who never got on the track. Bottas and Perez and Alonso out. Alonso pipped at the post right at the end by Colapinto. But yeah, Perez and Bottas, I think they can be quite content with that. Look, they want to be winning. Of course they do, but Cadillac are nowhere near that, and they're not going to be for a long time. But that's a good start for Cadillac. Completed quali, they could tick that box. Now they need to try and get to the end of the race tomorrow. Then they can tick that one, and then they can start to progress from there. A big learning year for them, but hope it goes well for them. We are go for Q2. Woohoo. Connor says, what happened to Max Verstappen? So again, just if you're tuning in, Max Verstappen was on his way down to turn 1, hit the brakes. Something went wrong at the rear because both rear axles locked, or the rear axle, sorry, both rear axles, both rear wheels, the whole axle locked. Pitched him into a spin, and he went into the barrier on the exit of turn, well, not the exit, is it? In turn 1's barrier. He was okay. It wasn't a massive impact with the barrier, just bouncing across the gravel looked a bit rough, but he was okay. Bit of a shake of the wrist when he got out of the car, but yeah, he'll be good to go tomorrow. Not too much damage either compared to Kimi Antonelli's crash in FP3. So that's why he is where he is. We'll do predictions for pole, Connor, after FP. Q2. Good to see I haven't got rid of the FP2, Q2 mix up in my head this year. But yeah, we'll do that after Q2 when we know who the top 10 are. My prediction on Thursday was Russell for pole. And at the moment, from the lap times we've seen, nothing changes my mind on that. However, both of the Ferraris use the medium tyre in Q1. So they've still got a good chunk of time left when they put the softs on later. So, or now, which is going to be interesting. Have a quick drink. No coffee because we've got an espresso machine. I couldn't be bothered with it this morning, so I don't know. I'll have squash. I'll have my orange squash. It's fine. It's refreshing enough. So let's see what Hamilton could do then on these soft tyres. First one to do a lap by the look of it. Use the mediums in Q1, which was a surprise, and they were only what 3-4 tenths off, something like that. So yeah, Merc will definitely step it up another level. Russell's going to be quicker. Antonelli will get some more laps on his belt. So yeah, everyone's going to improve now, or they should as the track continues to rubber in and improve. But Ferrari are going to get a lot of free improvement just from using a softer tyre, aren't they? So yeah, they got the new soft for tomorrow, but also, as I said earlier, second and third on the grid for Ferrari is as good as pole. If their starts are as good as they seem to be, and everyone else are as bad as they seem to be, they'll be P1 and P2 by turn 1. I hope that's so Hamilton's backed out by the look of it. I hope that's not lifting and coasting at that point. He's backed out of it. That was he's given up. Leclerc's gone purposely, cuts the corner there, Hamilton, to let Leclerc go. Of course, Leclerc's gone purple. He's first one to do ish. That's a 17.6 in the middle. That matches. Where was George Russell's best? 17.5. So he's only a tenth off Russell's best. Slightly down on his own best though, actually, from Q1. Piastri goes fastest, or top of the timesheet, not fastest. Leclerc will be first to do an actual lap time. 20.088 or 088. Norris is backing out of it. Hamilton at 136.1, but he backed off. Norris is backed off as well. So, yeah. I'll call something early, says Raul. Ferrari probably has tyre issues in race trim. Probably. Given the reliability we've seen so far, there will definitely be safety cars or even a red flag. So soft is a race tyre, says Johnson. Yeah, late soft if we get a late red flag. Nice and racy. We're surely going to see a lot of retirements tomorrow. I don't want to make predictions about a dramatic, chaotic, or great race and then it'd be terrible. But you'd expect quite a few retirements tomorrow. So you'd expect some safety cars, at least. Anthony, I'm never going to get used to that front wing opening, as they say. And there's the lift into the downshifting, as Martin Brundle says on the back straight on the run to 9 and 10. Just what we like seeing quali. A bit of lifting and coasting and downshifting early. It is what it is. It's the new rules. We've got to get used to them, and so are the drivers. But early days yet. From what we've seen in testing and here, though, so far, I'm not surprised there was talk about ditching these engine rules as recently as the middle of last year. It was never going to happen, but I'm not surprised. But they'll master it, and either they'll change the rules in the next few years, or it'll have all ended up being a storm in a teacup and everything works out for the best. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I keep saying it for anyone just tuning in. I don't like the idea of lifting and coasting in quali. I know it's part of the sport now, but quali should be flat out. In race trim, sure, but quali, nah. Never going to get used to that. Hadjar's gone purple. Then George Russell's at 18.9. I said we'd get into the 80s. There you go, 118.9. That's half, 6 tenths quicker than his Q1 time, wasn't it? Was he a 119.5? So that's impressive. As Lindblad goes fourth again, a second off the pace, but quicker than Leclerc at the moment. Here comes Liam Lawson. So the Racing Bull's looking quite nice at the minute. Nice car. Good old 90s Australian Grand Prix where less than 10 cars finish. Yes, please, says Nick the Greek. Yeah. Hamilton is improving. Obviously, Hadjar's gone third. It's trying to work out who everybody is, and it's just... It seems like it's Mercedes and Ferrari are the quickest too, but then every now and again a McLaren pops up or a Red Bull and you go, oh, like that, Piastri into P2, and you go, oh, okay, maybe not then. But yeah, George Russell, good luck. Good lap, sorry. Just looking at Antonelli. Has he got a mistake here? Into turn 30. Little lock up on the left front and goes very wide there. So Antonelli has more time in the tank as well. They are, Neelish. If there's one thing we can say, and I think this is the general consensus among the fan base, for all the complaints about the harvesting and all that, the cars do look really great. I keep making the point that the cars have become smaller, but the dimensions when you read them on paper don't look that big. But the cars are just so noticeably smaller, and I know that the front tyres in particular, and the rear tyres as well, are doing quite a lot of the heavy lifting there, but they do look proper racy, and it's so good to see the drivers having to fight them. I don't want cars on rails. I want to see the drivers working for it, and we're seeing that, and it's great. Yeah, I can't disagree. I think it looked great. I think I've got to say as well, I didn't really, obviously when I was doing the test issues, I couldn't really listen to things properly because I had to listen to my guest because we're having conversations. Couldn't just ignore them. But when I watched FP1 yesterday, first time seeing these cars in some sort of, proper push state, as pushy as they're ever going to get in practice, they sound a little bit better as well. A bit raspier. So they sound better. They look great. Let's just see if we can get these regs sorted out and under control, and drivers can work it out. Obviously, again, China next week, Japan, Miami, they're all going to be very different. And if you're wondering why I'm jumping to Miami, if you've not seen the news, it looks as the general consensus in the paddock is that Bahrain and Saudi Arabia being called off is a case of when, not if, and they won't be replaced by anything else. So a whole April with nothing, basically. So that's where we're at the moment. We'll talk about that after qualifying's finished and we've done all the run through the result and that, because I'm sure you'll have some opinions on it. Reality is, whether people like it or not, we can't race in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia at the moment. Absolutely zero chance. You just can't. Although Saudi Arabia, there is some previous there and we've still raced, but that was one attack, wasn't it? So slightly different now, but yeah, shame, but bigger things in the world without getting into it. My biggest frustration, I'll make the point now, waiting for them to get on with their next laps, but we'll talk about it a bit later as well, hopefully. But the biggest frustration for me is we can't get a race on to replace them, not even one, because it would be difficult. And it's like, well, you've got enough money in F1. You've got enough clever people. You could put something on. Imola is the one that keeps popping in my head. The track's ready. As far as I understand it, based on what the event organisers were saying last year, because they want it to be on the calendar, they've got the funding for 2026. It's a European race. The logistics are easier, but not easy. And I think that if enough people wanted to make it happen, they could. But they don't need to with the 24 race season. That's the difference between now and COVID. They had to get to a certain number of races to make sure they honoured their contracts with broadcasters and partners. They've got plenty of leeway this year, so they can just call 2 races off. But my suspicion is the thinking will be suspend Bahrain and Saudi and try to squeeze them in somewhere else. I'm not sure where. Maybe you can get one in between Baku and Singapore. But yeah, it'll be financially driven and not much else, frankly. So there you go. Yes, there you go, Raul. Yearly gets the pang in there. Absolutely. But yeah, and just one final point on Imola. A lot of people saying in the media, well, you wouldn't be able to sell tickets for Imola. If Ferrari are remotely competitive, you could sell tickets for Imola 3 days before the event was going to happen. You won't sell it out, but you'll sell tickets. So I'm not buying that for a second. If Ferrari are competitive, you're going to sell tickets. But anyway, let's get back to this. We'll talk about that properly a bit later. I'll take your comments on that later as well. But I have if Bahrain and Saudi get called off, I have no issue with that. Completely understandable, but frustrating that we've got quite a long wait. But that might be a blessing in disguise for Aston Martin. They might be quite happy with that. We'll see. We're on board with Nico Hülkenberg now. I'm not going to pass comment on the turn 9 and 10. I might pull a face. But anyway, no comment. Shut up, Sean. Yeah, Hülkenberg. The Audi looks all right on board. Just don't like that livery thing. But the car itself looks pretty decent. They've really impressed me this weekend. Bortoletto in particular, I think, has been really solid. I don't know what I expected from Audi this season. I feared for them a little bit with them building their own power unit, but they've clearly got it right to a point. Based on what we've seen so far, and they look competitive, so really happy to see that. Over the line goes Hülkenberg, goes up to P9. There you go. There's Verstappen walking back to the pits. Hamilton goes up to 6th place on a soft tyre. Is that a used set? No, Norris is on a used set, isn't he? That's not a great lap from Hamilton. Antonelli goes 2nd, improves again. Moves half a second off his teammate. Oh, yeah, I know there are a lot of logistics involved in, and Jonty's absolutely right, arranging ticket sales to keep shareholder types happy is the problem. Yeah, it's all financial, and I know there are insurance issues, and as we saw during COVID, there was a lot of people, F1 and circuits waiting for the other one to blink first so that they didn't have to pay out. But there are, if enough people want to make it happen, it can happen. It's just that they won't want to. Aston Martin probably lobbying for the rest of the season off. Let's just cancel the season. It's no worries. We'll come back next year. They'd still be a year behind though, wouldn't they? I hope Ferrari have got more. 6th and 8th at the moment. Not quite squeaky bum time. They should be okay there. Well, I'll say that. It's a bit closer than I thought it was going to be, so... Yeah, good point. Sort of getting a banker lap in. Lewis Hamilton there, playing it a little bit safer. Leclerc improving 27.6, only just marginally down on George Russell. So good first sector there. Just picking up the pace now, Leclerc. What's he doing in the middle sector? 17.5, 0.3 down on George Russell. Bobby, yeah. A puff of smoke from the back of that Ferrari every now and again. Don't know if it's catching the ground or whether it is that we saw in testing. That smoky engine. Not seen the spinny rear wing yet. The Macarena rear wing, as people are calling it. Because sure. Sure. But yeah, no, I'm... See this one over the line with Charles. I mean, he goes 2nd, but it's a 19.3, sorry. 0.4 off George Russell. Yeah, maybe, Nick. Maybe just in terms of races being cancelled rather than the extra stuff that came with all of that. But yeah, they might fancy it. I get what you're saying. They might think, yeah, let's have a 16 race season. Why not? I agree as well, by the way, on what Perksy says. 20 races should be where we are. 20 is a nice number. It works. But yeah. Hamilton apparently reporting his rear tyres are giving up, so... pole incoming, I suppose. Or fastest time. Anyway, there is a checker flag for Q2. Russell currently fastest. We're on the brink of losing. Colapinto, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Bearman, and Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg is out, actually. Lawson can't do another lap either, so here we go. Who do you need to watch? Gasly's improving. Colapinto did personal best sectors. Stays... He's not out though, Colapinto. He could go again. You can go again with these new rules, of course. It's not like we've seen in the past where you need a cool lap. You can just go again. Gasly stays 14th. How much the lap time deleted for track limits at turn 2 on lap 18, and then again, turn 10 on lap 18? Is that going to affect his lap times? I'll keep an eye on that. Albon's pitted, so he's not going to improve. Ocon and Bearman on track. Neither of them are improving. Albon's been across the grass at turn 1. Yeah, not a very exciting... A bit of a anticlimactic end to the session there. Hamilton's times don't appear to have been affected, or his fastest time doesn't. So 90, did make a mistake as well, 19.9. So yeah, no. Oh, yeah, clearly track limits at turn 1, but that will have cost him time. That's my line on the F1 game. That is just super wide. But yeah, we have lost Nico Hülkenberg in 11th, but Gabriel Bortoleto for Audi through to Q3. What a performance! What a great start for Audi, and what a great start to the season for Lindblad and Lawson at Racing Bulls, 8th and 9th and into Q3. So really solid start for all of those just mentioned. And do you know what? Hülkenberg 11th, sure, he's out, but he's 100th off his teammate. That's still a really great showing from Audi. Don't forget, this isn't a bit like Cadillac where they're starting with a Ferrari engine. They are starting with an engine they built. So well done to Audi. We've got double yellows. That'll be, I assume, debris at turn 1. But yeah, the checker flag is out for Q2. Q3 still to come. But yeah, great stuff from Bortoleto. He's definitely seems to have had the upper hand over Hülkenberg this weekend. But correct me if I'm wrong, chap, but I think, didn't he out-qualify Hülkenberg last season in Australia? So maybe it's a track he likes as well. So if that's correct, by the way, how I remember that, I don't know. Anthony says, relax, Max will be fine in the race. If, as Martin Brundle is predicting, we're going to see only 10-ish cars finishing, Max could easily pick up some big points tomorrow. But whatever happens, he could be a good experiment, actually. Good one to watch tomorrow. A good test for how good or bad these cars are for overtaking. Now, obviously, the caveat needs to go in that this is a tough track to pass on anyway. So even if the cars were super easy to overtake, you're still going to struggle to a point here. But he's one to keep an eye on tomorrow. Good experiment. So that's, yeah, Q2 done. Q3 still to come. Obviously, please do drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. Really appreciate your support. Where are we at anyway? 53 likes. Let's see if we can get those a little bit higher. I'd love to get to 100. Unlikely. But yeah, if we can get there, you're all legends and you'll all get 10 bonus points from me. I don't know what the points are or how they work, but that's how I'm working out in my head. I'll have forgotten them. But yeah, please do drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Lots to come this season. We have got the race reaction tomorrow, live with Chamber, who's made a YouTube comeback this last week. So yeah, live tomorrow with Chamber, about an hour after the race-ish, to debrief the weekend and of course the Grand Prix itself. Hopefully plenty to talk about. I think even if the race sucks tomorrow, there's still going to be a lot to talk about. So definitely join us for that one. Then I'll be back with the preview on Wednesday for China, and then of course we'll have the qualifying watch along and the race reaction at the very least, and there might be a sprint quali watch along. Just depends whether I have the time to do that, but I will let you know towards the back end of next week. So yeah, I am as well. Very impressed with Audi. Says Perks, you completely agree. And Racing Bulls, to be fair. But you look at the top of, Mercedes looking good with George Russell there. Antonelli, all his woes since FP3, that crash in FP3, rebuild for the car. Getting into Q2 was impressive enough. Third place and half second of his teammate looks a big gap, but I think all things considered not bad. Piastri up there, then you got Hadjar. It really is quite mixed up there. I can't wait for them either, Cadenza, the post-race reaction streams. Really missed them last year. Oh! So, Arvid Lindblad's entering the pits at the end of qualifying. Came flying around the corner, wasn't told that ahead of him, Bortoleto and his teammate Lawson were going super slow, and he very nearly smashed into the back of his teammate in the pit entry. Why are they going that slow? Why was he not told? Lindblad's car is fine. Nearly had a massive crash in the pit. I don't know what is going on pit entry. Has Bortoleto got a problem? In fact, has Bortoleto stopped? Oh, no. Bortoleto, I think he stopped. Q3 start will be delayed. I think Bortoleto's got a problem. That's why he was slow on pit entry. Oh, that's such a shame. Hopefully they can get him back in, and he's moving on the driver tracker or track map, not track mapper. He's being pushed to the pushed into the pit lane now. Hopefully they can find out whatever the problem is and get him going. Yeah, that'd be a shame. He might not have ended up any higher than 10th, but that, I mean, he's not far off Lawson and Lindblad, so that is a shame. In fact, they're backing him up. They won't let him go into the pit lane, so that is it. Bortoletto's out. So we're down to 9 for the top 10 shootout. That's a shame. No, Nick. No, that's Hulkenberg's still out. It would make sense, wouldn't it, to just put Hulkenberg through, but you know what they're like with these things, so no. Neelish says, I've never heard Neelish's Lindblad's voice before. I've been watching Lindblad for a good few years now, so I know his voice, but whenever you hear new drivers, you go, who on earth is that? Who's that? Who's that in my ear? But no, I've been watching Lindblad for a long time, so yeah. That phrase sounds creepy. I've been watching Lindblad for a long time. That sounds creepier than it needs to, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm not in the bushes. I'm watching him racing on TV. Yeah, Bortoletto's day is over. That's a real shame. Surely he would have been in the fight for P8. That is a shame. But still, top 10 start tomorrow, all being well. Yeah. A shame, but good start to the season for Audi, all things considered. Yeah, yeah, well done, Perks. You completely jinxed Audi. It's all your fault. Terrible. If you are just tuning in, we've already lost Lance. Stroll didn't go out. Sainz didn't go out. Verstappen crashed at turn 1 with some sort of issue. But Bottas, Perez, and Alonso were out in Q1 as well. Alonso did 4 laps, apparently. Colapinto, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Bearman, and Hulkenberg all went out in Q2. We would normally have 10 for Q3, but unfortunately Bortoletto had an issue and stopped on pit entry, so he won't take part in Q3. So we're going to be watching Lawson, Lindblad, Hamilton, Norris, Hadjar, Piastri, Antonelli, Leclerc, and Russell fighting for pole. So get your predictions in chat. One surname, or you can do a top 3 if you like. Who are you going with for pole position? And I'll run through a few of your predictions while we wait for them to start ramping up for their quick laps. I'm going to stick with George Russell, which is what I said on Thursday. Gasly noted for unsafe condition. Keep an eye on that one as well. But yeah, let me know who you think is going to get pole, or give me a top 3 on the grid, and then we'll do predictions for the race a little bit later on. But yeah, hopefully we're going to get lots of close action at the front for pole. But George Russell, I'll stick with my prediction there. Russell for pole. Do you know what? I will go all Mercedes front row lockout, not just because I'm wearing their merch, but I fancy Antonelli here for a second place. But again, I want to see Ferrari up there. So Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton as the top 4. Let's say I'm gonna go with the testing predictions: 2 Mercedes and 2 Ferrari at the front in some order. Once everything shakes out, I'll read your predictions when they get out for the start of the warm-up lap, let's say. Who's at the sharp end there? Who's got Etihad on their rear wing? Is it McLaren? It might be Piastri. Looks like Piastri on the driver tracker, so yeah. I'll stick with Russell. I was just trying to debate whether I wanted to change my mind there, but I think no, we'll go Russell. It is Piastri at the front of the queue, yeah. So we are 10 seconds away from the start of Q3, and then we'll read through your predictions, and then we'll see how many of us are right. So 13 minutes for Q3 this year. Here we go then. Q3 is underway. Like I say, 13 minutes this year compared to the 12 last year. I think to try and stop all the faffing around in the pit lane, isn't it? I think to make sure cars can get their laps in. But I do feel like if we're going to add an extra minute, it would have made more sense to put an extra minute in Q1. But that felt quite long actually, Q1 today. So maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, 13 minutes for Q3. Track temperature black gold is 32.4 degrees C. 20.5 degrees air temperature, just so you, I'll answer that one for you now. So, Piastri says Mr. Kevin. Cadenza says Russell, Hamilton, Antonelli, as the Mercedes head out now. Footy sticking with Russell, Leclerc, Piastri. Hamilton, Russell, and Leclerc says Trans, Antonelli for Anthony. Adrian says Russell, Piastri, Leclerc. Nick's gone with Russell, Anthony, Norris. Fair point from Pascal, who is our resident Audi fan, of course. Says rather have a problem with the car today than tomorrow because points are possible tomorrow for Audi. So that's a very fair point. Pascal also says Piastri, Russell, Hamilton, Piastri top three. Mr. Fluffy the Turtle, great name, says Piastri or Hamilton surprise. Russ, Anthony, Leclerc, Piastri says Perxia. Neelish says Russell, Leclerc, Anthony, Hamilton. Let's go. Hamilton says Kershaw. I think that's says there, and yeah, there we go. I think I got everybody there. Yeah, I'm not sure the extra minute is necessary, but I'm wondering if it's to do. I'll go have a look afterwards, and we'll see if I can let you know tomorrow. But I'm not going to read the regs now, but it might be to do with, if you remember last year and previous years, we had the faffy at the end of the pit lane, didn't we? And drivers not being able to get their lap in at the end. So maybe it's to do with that. But I can't help but feel that minute would be better in Q1, given that we've got 2 more cars. But hey-ho. If we'd have increased the top 10 to be a top 12 in quali, then I'd understand it, but not sure. Somebody might know. Miss Caesar says Russell, Piastri, Leclerc. Flying Tigers gone Leclerc, Hadjar, Bortoletto. Won't be Bortoletto, mate, unfortunately. He's not taking part in Q3 because of some sort of problem. Morris says Bortoletto, Piastri, Lawson. Might want to revise that one as well, mate. Yeah, Bortoletto not taking part, unfortunately. He's out of the car and done with an issue. But he's still through to Q3, so it's a positive start. Turn the green flag off now. There we go. Right then, Hamilton obviously purple in the first sector. I think he's the first one doing a lap, so not a surprise there. Oh, we've got some bodywork on the track. Is that a cooling fan or a part of... That's a red... yeah, Martin Brooks says red flag. It'll have to be. Is that a cooling fan? It's off Antonelli's car. That's going to be unsafe condition. It is the cooling fan on the left front side pod as we look at it, or right front... for him, that'll have to be a red flag, and it is a red flag. It's a big chunk of equipment on the. You can't have that on the track, and it's come off at turn 1. Bounced across the So both of them are still on the car then. So one's fallen off the left front, one on the right front. So that'll be an unsafe condition. That's a red flag. While they clear that debris, they have to do that. That's not a small piece of debris. That's a big chunk of equipment that could cause all sorts of trouble. So that's going to be game over. I don't know if they'll get a grid drop for that, but that's a team error. It'll be surely hefty fine. Wouldn't you think? They might give a sporty penalty. Does Norris hit it? Norris hit it. Let's have a look. Oh. He hit it. It just shatters. Look at that. Wow. That's going to take a little while to clean up now. It would have been fairly easy had Norris not hit it. But yeah, hit it with his left front. So has that caused any damage? They both must have been in. Because as he came through turn 1, one bounced across the gravel. So that would have been the left side pod intake, wouldn't it? Air intake. Then... the other one would have flown off on the right-hand side, so they must have left both on. Absolutely obliterated. He just went, poof, confetti. It wasn't, cool shot. I think actually XPB, who provide the photos for the videos and streams, hey to those guys, by the way. Good luck this season. It's going to be another long one, but great group of people. So... I wonder if they'll get a shot of that down there just as Norris hit it. That'd be quite a photo, wouldn't it, from the rear? Hopefully all okay for Lando, though. Yeah, good thing they had the extra minute. Good point, actually, man. It's worked out all right this time. Yeah, they're going to check it. They've got the glue out. They've got the Pritt stick out, ready to go. They will have to investigate that. Ted Kravitz just saying there there'll need to be a major penalty because they might not get away with it if it's caused damage to another car. So we'll see what they decide. It might be a grid drop. It might be a sporting penalty. It might be a financial one. But it's a team mistake, of course, not Antonelli's mistake. But they might have to come down quite heavy on that one because that's quite a chunky bit of equipment to leave in the car, isn't it? So Golf Ball says at this rate qualifying might just be finished before the race is due to start. Yeah. Is that second red flag? We had delays as well in to start qualifying because of Bortoleto, or Q3 because of Bortoleto, of course, on the pit entry. So I'm quite surprised that people are quite so surprised that we're a long way off the pace of last year's cars. That tends to be the case at the start of every regulations reset, doesn't it? Pretty much. And then in a couple of years' time, we'll be quicker than last year. So, or basically on how things tend to go. But there must have been two of them, unless that one could walk. Yeah. There was what? Yeah, definitely two of them. It was a 1:15 last year. So at the minute we're 15 seconds off, but I think we're about 3 or 4 off, aren't we? So that's not a great surprise. Raul says, sorry I've missed some McLaren nose cooling thing. Do we know if that's driver cooling? Not sure. I assume driver cooling. But we are about to go green again. Yeah. Interesting to see what happens with Antonelli then. So again, not his mistake. It's a team mistake, but that's not a minor error, is it? That could have been nasty. In fact, if it's damaged in McLaren, they'll definitely be in trouble, but let's see. Yeah, they'll investigate it after the session, unsafe condition. We'll find out tomorrow, I guess. Because I won't be staying up to wait for that. I won't be staying live to find out that decision, and I won't be staying up for it either. I'll find out tomorrow. We'll discuss it in the race reaction, whether or not that's fair. But if that is a sporting penalty, harsh on Antonelli because he did nothing wrong, but probably fair when you think about the damage that could have caused. May have caused, actually, depending on what's going on with Norris. Although I think he's in the pit lane, so it might be okay. Yeah, like I said, these cars are always going to be slower. But, yeah. A minute 50, that's what I was going to say. I was looking at the clock then. How long have we got? We've got 9:47 left in the session. We're a minute and 45 away from the restart of the session. So, yeah. The thing is, there is an argument, and a lot of people have made this argument on, I was going to say this channel. That's a lie. To the place. That slower cars might actually be better for racing. I'm not sure how that stacks up, but it's a good point. Brundle tried to be defensive, but that wasn't a hard thing to see in an F1 car. Bottas spotted about 2 inches of debris at 210 mile an hour in Baku once. Was that the year that he got that puncture when he was leading, and then it gave us Jonty that, for me, one of the best photos, if not the photo of the year, of him sat in Baku with his helmet on against the barrier, just absolutely flat as a pancake. Was that the same year? Magnussen saying that he couldn't see in his mirrors as he was looking in his mirrors and turning the car to the left. which prompted the frustration with Kevin Magnussen video that I did, because I was so annoyed with him. It's like, I can't see him in the mirror, as he's looking in his mirror, then turning left slightly. Do you know what? I miss K-Mag. I love that guy. What exactly happened there? Did Antonelli drop his guts? Says Adrian. Yeah. They're cooling fans, aren't they? Yeah, they left 2 on. Bono knows. He looks frustrated. Yeah. Right, here we go. We're going for the restart. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. We'll go again. I like to have a little fun. I press my button. It's good. It's very exciting. If I got a stream deck, the buttons are just very, very nice to press. Yeah, it might be a different year than I was thinking of, Jonty, but it's that race always sticks out for me. It just means we get longer races, which is fine for me, although Domenicali will be freaking out because the longer races won't suit the 30 people who watch F1 on TikTok. Moray just tapping into my mind there. I love the Domenicali. Oh, kids these days haven't got the attention span for F1, but they'll sit and watch somebody stream for 9 hours in testing. Sure, whatever. Hilarious. Also, hilarious as a millennial, but also quite insulting to younger people. Like, oh, yeah, I got the attention span for F1. Wow, rude. Yeah. Watch their favourite Twitch streamer on, surprise, surprise, Twitch for 6 hours, but can't watch F1 for an hour and a half. Sure, Stefano. Sure, Steph, mate. Not having it. I also don't get TikTok. I don't get short form video. I was talking about the other day, like, oh, you're gonna do shorts on the channel. I was like, I fucking hate them. Excuse my language, but I just hate it. It's brain rot. And that I get that phrase from Beard Meets Food. Absolute brain rot. That's what they are. Oh, I just can't. Brain rot to make, and brain rot, unless it's compilations of people falling over, like Fail Army, which is basically you've been framed without Harry Hill or Jeremy Beadle, then it's just brain rot. I just can't. I can't. I might make some, or I might find someone to make them for me, but no. I'd rather make a 12-minute video, and people who want to watch it can, and those who don't want to watch it don't have to. Kimi Antonelli off at turn 3. He's all right. He's got going again. It's my. What am I? Just what we watch. Sorry, just come to. My brother was saying the other day he doesn't watch F1 anymore. He never really watched it anyway. He watched it through me, but he hasn't watched it for years because he hasn't got the time. But he'll sit and watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy in a day, and you're like, shut up. Come on. So Russell now super clipping, downshifting in through turn 9 and 10, but he's purple in the middle sector. Hadjar's got purple in the middle as well, but how much? So Hadjar's a 10th quicker than Russell in the first sector. In the second sector, sorry. So this could be a good opening lap here for Hadjar. He's going to be just after George. So George is going to go over the line now. There's a 1:19.084. We've been quicker than that today. I think Hadjar, he might not beat him, but it'd not be bad. Yeah, there you go. He's still half a second off, but a 1:19.6. So lost 6/10 in the final. I can't even add up to say 4/10 in the final sector. Piastri third on a 1:20.3. But yeah, Hadjar marginally quicker than Russell in the end in that middle sector. So a lot of people said it, and I'll repeat the point as well. Really impressed with Red Bull being able to get to be as competitive as they are thus far, given that they've built their own engine for the first time. I think that's completely. I think that's really impressive. I'm sure they'll not get the credit because it's Red Bull. People don't like them, but huge credit. Norris goes second, 96, and whatever damage we thought he had, clearly that's been sorted. Still half a second off George though, and I don't feel like. I still think there's still time on the table for George Russell. So, yeah. Netflix has to combat with people being on phones while watching TV and movies, so they often repeat story points to make sure viewers aren't lost when they pay attention. I hate how YouTube is basically 30-second shorts or 50-hour retrospectives. I want 20 to 30-minute videos back to popularity as a Mariners fan. Yes, right. It's either all or nothing. That's why I like my sort of 12, 15-minute video length. That just feels about right. That said, I'll quite happily sit and watch City Planner Plays for 50 minutes at a time. Or Biffa, you know. I like that kind of thing. But, yeah, I don't know. Just watching Ansel's lock up at turn 3 wide in the gravel. He got going again, though. Bit bumpy, but all good. Hopefully, no damage. Can't see anything flicking off, just stones. So that's all right. But, yeah, I feel like it's either shorts or, like you say, 50-hour retrospectives. But I do like a deep dive. I do like a video essay, so I like making them as well. Something I'd like to do more of over here, for sure. 4 minutes 20. Chatting with you all in chat, watching see what happens. But we've had quite a quiet start. We've not had a time from Antonelli, Lindblad, Lawson yet. Bortoletto won't be doing a time, of course, because he's got to stop with a mechanical issue in the pit entry. At the end of Q2, so he's not going to go out again. But still top 10 again. Great stuff for him. Out-qualified his teammate as well. And I think as well, just while we're waiting for it, just on like YouTube videos and that, as long as one, the topic is interesting, and there he is going over that debris again, and as long as the video flows nicely, I don't think it matters how long it is, you know. My mantra has always been, my videos will be as long as they need to be. If it takes me 8 minutes, it takes me 8 minutes. If it takes me 18 minutes, it takes me 18 minutes. I don't pad to get to a certain time. I don't have an idea in my head. I just make the video and I go, oh, that was 14 minutes. Oh, that was 5 minutes. It just doesn't matter to me. I know there are perfect video lengths for the algorithm, but I can't, yeah. Nah, I can't bother with that. I'll talk, and however long the video is, usually too long. That's how long it is. Just waiting for this to come and do some laps. We're getting cars on track now. Good job we had that extra minute, as somebody else said. Yeah. Here comes George Russell. Kimi Antonelli, sorry, to wind up to start his lap. But yeah, looking good for George Russell at the minute. Remember, Antonelli's got a question mark over his head at the moment because of the unsafe condition. If you're just tuning in, he went out on track with the fans still on the car, and they got chucked onto the track, and Lando Norris hit one and damaged part of his car. So might be in a bit of trouble there, Mercedes. We'll see what happens in the coming hours. We'll know by tomorrow, of course. So bear that in mind. If he does suddenly stick it on pole, he might not be on pole tomorrow. Or, yeah, pole isn't until you line up on the grid, but I'm not getting into the ins and outs of F1. Coming now between turns 8 and 9, flat out until, where does he? So it's just between the first and second bridge, let's say, on the run to turn 9. They all start, that's when it starts to do the clipping stuff. Super clipping. Yeah, which is why they look so slow compared to what they used to through 9 and 10. Which again, it's the shame there is that's a great complex of corners, so, or sequence of corners, so, but hey ho. I'll come back to you in chat. I'm going to watch the last minute and 30 now, see what happens. Try and commentate my best on it. He's going to get a nice toe here, although whatever's ahead of him seems to be slowing down. Anthony goes fastest on a 1:18.8, but George Russell is absolutely flying. He's a 10th up on his teammate in the first sector, 2 tenths up in the middle sector, purple and purple. He is on one here. Everyone on a fresh set of softs, of course. As long as he keeps this clean and tidy, George, I think I'm about to get a point on predictions. That was a silly thing to say. I'll stick it in the wall now, or someone else will surprise. But George Russell, how quick is this going to be? 18.8 to beat. It's an 18.5, George. Goodness me. George Russell, 1:18.5, 3 tenths quicker than his teammate. A second quicker than Norris at the moment, who is watching Piastri at the minute, on board with him through the final couple of corners. Not a great middle sector. Not awful from Piastri, but not an improvement. What's he going to do? It is an all Mercedes front row at the minute. Piastri goes third on a 1:19.3, 8 tenths off George Russell. Here comes Charles Leclerc around the final corner for Ferrari. He's currently 6th place. Can he do it? No, he's only third. What, at 8 tenths off 1:19.3? That could be the front row if Antonelli gets a penalty. Hadjar now around the final corner. What's he going to do? He's out-qualified his teammate, don't forget. It's been a while since said that about a Red Bull driver. P3 for Hadjar, 19.3. Still nearly 8 tenths off George Russell. Here comes Lando Norris. Can he spring a surprise? No, he can't. He stays 6th on a 19.4. Lewis Hamilton, what can he do? Personal best. Personal best. Over the line. He stays 7th. On a 1:19.4, I'd be surprised if Arvid Lindblad's going to stick this on pole, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Around the final corner for him. He's not going to be pole, that's for sure. What can he do? 21.2. No, 1.7 seconds off the top 4 teams. You'd say that. Lawson's gone 8th on a 1:19.9, so that's much better. Only half a second off Hamilton, that from Lawson. So Lawson just pips Lindblad, Lindblad looks like he had the upper hand all weekend on Lawson. Lawson nicks it at the end. That's about right, isn't it? But it is a Mercedes front row lockout. George Russell on pole, or a 1-2 in qualifying lockout, let's say. But we've actually got a penalty potentially for Antonelli to think about. That could be 3, 4, 5 places. So we'll see what happens there. But at the minute, it is an all Mercedes front row. George Russell on pole, nearly 3 tenths quicker than his teammate Antonelli in second, and Isack Hadjar third, but nearly 8 tenths off the fastest time and half a second off Kimi Antonelli. That is, well, I got a bit of flack in the comments in the preview. Oh, do you really believe the British bias about Mercedes having the best engine? Yeah, I do. Not British bias, lads. It's reality, and it's analysing testing. It was obvious. All along, it was obvious. We got sucked into... Although Red Bull third with Hadjar, I mean, yeah, still great. But there you go. I'll run through the times properly in a minute. If you are disappearing to go to bed or to enjoy the rest of your day, thank you for joining. We'll stay live for a good probably stay live till 7 a.m. So a good 35 minutes yet before we wrap up today. We'll analyse a bit of qualifying, talk about tomorrow's race, and I'll answer some of your questions as well. A bit of Q&A to wrap things up today, but I'll run through the times in a moment. But yeah, Russell on pole. But thank you for your support if you did join me today, and you're disappearing now. Please do drop a like before you go. It'd be great to get to 100 likes on the stream. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, for the race reaction for an hour-ish after the race. We'll be live for about 6 hours, probably. But there you go, Mercedes 1-2, as expected. Yeah. What you say in chat before I go on to read through the results? Talk about shorts there. Sam Barron's fan says, wow, just wow. Yeah, P3 to P7 is really close. That could be what we have to watch this season, to be fair. We'll see what happens. Cadenza doesn't like being a Ferrari fan. If you are new, by the way, I am sat in Mercedes merch. It's purely because I love their merch. But I am a Ferrari fan and a Verstappen fan. So, yeah, not a great day. But, you know, these things happen, don't they? These things happen. Buoyed by Red Bull paces, Anthony. Absolutely. Absolutely. Flying Tiger says, wow, that was a heck of a lap from George, wasn't it? Leclerc in fourth, potentially third, could be leading by turn one. Yeah, Fudd, good point. I mentioned that earlier, didn't I? If you've got the Ferraris anywhere near the front with their lightning starts. Having said that, it might well be that Mercedes have lightning starts now, and that was all part of the gamesmanship during testing. Jonty says we have a season. I think what I would say, just very quickly, even if Antonelli gets a penalty tomorrow, or tonight for tomorrow, the fact he was 3 tenths off his teammate, despite everything that happens this weekend, is crashing FP3, for example. Even if this is a Mercedes-dominated season, that's encouraging for a title fight, isn't it? I'd still, right now, at the stage of the career that they're at, I would still back Russell over Antonelli, but that might give us some fight at the front if it does end up being a Mercedes domination year. But again, this could all flip next weekend at a completely different track, and we might see Ferrari top. So it's too early to say that, but just it's an encouraging sign. If he had a flawless weekend, would he have been closer? Possibly. So yeah, let's a quick sip of my drink. Actually, I'll just mute my mic so I don't glug in your ear. And then I'll run through the times, and then we'll do some Q&A and talk about tomorrow. What time are we at? I need to check my stream time so I know. Sorry. Look at 1:56. Perfect. George Russell is on pole position for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix with a time of 1:18.518. Kimi Antonelli just under 3/10 behind on an 18.811, but he will probably end up with some sort of penalty. We'll see what happens after he had the two fans fall off his car, cooling fans fall off his car, one which Lando Norris ran over and damaged a little bit of his McLaren. So likely to be some sort of penalty there. Possibly a fine, but more likely a sporty penalty, so possibly 3, 5, maybe 10-place grid drop. We'll see what happens. Isack Hadjar, again, encouraging for Red Bull that they're third, but still 0.8 off the fastest time and half a second off the next Mercedes in second place. So there's a gap there. Charles Leclerc, disappointing actually for Ferrari. I thought they'd be a little higher. Only 200ths off Hadjar, so not terrible, but fourth for him. Oscar Piastri fifth and Lando Norris sixth. Actually, given where McLaren looks, or certainly Norris looked earlier in the weekend, that's not bad at all from them. Hamilton 3,000ths further back in seventh place, but only seventh place. Liam Lawson, his teammate Arvid Lindblad seemed to have the upper hand all weekend, and then right at the death there, Lawson nicked 8th place, and Lindblad, I wonder if he had a mistake on his lap. He's 1.2 seconds slower than his teammate, so I wonder if there's been a mistake somewhere, but he's 9th. Gabriel Bortoleto, great qualifying to get into the top 10, but unfortunately had a mechanical issue on pit entry and had to stop the car, so couldn't take part. But what a start to the season, and their time in F1 for Audi with Nico Hülkenberg not far behind in Q2 in P11. Ollie Bearman and Esteban Ocon for Haas were both knocked out. Bearman marginally out qualifying, well, a tenth and a half, nearly 2/10 actually is fair, over his teammate. Pierre Gasly, 14th, Alex Albon 15th, and Franco Colapinto is 16th. He just pipped Fernando Alonso right at the end of Q1 there, and Alonso got knocked out, but it doesn't sound like a positive, but given Aston's winter so far and how this weekend has gone, out-qualifying both the Cadillacs feels like a win, quite frankly. But 17th for Alonso, 18th for Perez, 19th for Bottas. I think they were within 3 seconds, weren't they? The fastest time in Q1 as well, if I recall. It feels like a long time ago, that. But yeah, great stuff from them. Max Verstappen, he crashed at turn 1. Some sort of car issue, his rear axle locked up as he hit the brakes. That threw him into the wall. He was okay. Car wasn't too badly damaged. Should be good for tomorrow. Carlos Sainz didn't go out, and Lance Stroll, shock horror, didn't go out either. So they are 21st and 22nd. Right then, get your questions in chat. We'll do predictions right at the end of the stream. I'll stay live for another 33 minutes. But if I'm still here in an hour, shout at me. I'm going to say, Nick, you can shout at me later if I'm still here in an hour. And if you're still here an hour, I'll shout at you as well. There you go. Yeah, but get your questions in or your comments in. Anybody surprised by this? Were you one of those who thought all the Mercedes hype was just a load of nonsense in the media? Or did you always think this was going to be the case coming into this weekend? Kimi Antonelli is bloody tiny compared to George Russell. I've not seen them stood next to each other all that much in an interview like this, and I've just realised. But really happy for Hadjar up there, by the way. I know Max had his crash, but he's still out-qualified. I mean, and he was quick all weekend, to be fair. So, good start for him. You are always shouting, to be fair, Nick, but I like it. I like that we have the debates, but I think you and we have our disagreements, but I think we probably agree on a lot more than we realise we do when it comes to F1. So, I'm not sure officially why Sainz didn't go out on track. I can have a look, Moray, but I know that he had mechanical issues in FP3, so it could be related to that. Let's have a look at what Williams are saying. Carlos couldn't compete in qualifying following an issue during FP3 is all they've said on that one. So I'll just double check. Team couldn't get the car ready. Carlos will not run during qualifying despite all efforts from the team to get the car ready. So they did the best they could, but yeah, whatever the issue was, they weren't able to fix it, which is a shame. There's quite a lot of doom and gloom around Williams, and actually Albon 15th. Again, I know you've got to caveat that with a few cars didn't set times, but I still think 15th isn't bad when you think about where people thought Williams were. So that's not too bad. Think of where Hadjar was 1 year ago versus now, says Neelish. That's a good point, yeah. Professional snowboarder Scotty James awarding the Pirelli pole position tyre thing for anyone who cares. I can't find. Golf Ball says, is it fair to punish Kimi for a team balls up? It doesn't. It would feel unfair on Antonelli to be penalised for that. The problem is, and it's a point that Martin Brundle always makes, if a driver's leading and starts the last lap and crashes, the team can't then claim the win for the constructors. I hate the phrase. I'm going to say it anyway. You win and you lose together as a team. It's true, but I just hate the phrase. So maybe if one of those, if they just left that fan on that ended up in the gravel, maybe they get away with a fine. But the fact they left two on and one ended up on the track and Norris hit it, even though Norris was able to get what ended up being a decent lap in, you've still caused some damage to a competitor, and I think that's where there's going to be a problem. And as I think somebody else made the point in chat, where is it? Sad Mariners fan says, it sucks, but the easiest way to punish the team is to punish the driver. Merkel just eat 100k fine like it's nothing. That's the problem. That's the problem. You give the team a 100k, 200k fine, they'll swallow that up, no problem. It's not really a punishment. So it doesn't feel fair, but it's not a minor, a cooling fan in the middle of the track isn't a minor mistake, is it? It feels like a minor mistake, but it's not. It could have had bigger consequences. So however it did, and thankfully everyone was okay, so nothing, we can make the comment, it did look really cool when he hit it, to be fair. So maybe they should rescind the penalty just for how cool that looks in photos on TV. Yeah, it sucks, but that's the way it is. So feel for him, because I still think that's a really good lap from Antonelli, all things considered. He crashed in FP3. They had to do the rebuild of the car. Got him out late on. He set a really good lap first time around, and then gets within 3/10 of his teammate who's had a pretty flawless weekend. So I think it's pretty decent from Antonelli. So it gives me a bit of hope from this season. But yeah, it is pole for Russell. And I'm not surprised. And a point for Sean. Wow. That's the big story today. Sean got a point in prediction. So I'm going to kick all your backsides. Yeah. Yeah, John T. Yours are crap, mate. Yeah. I'm winning. Anyway. Hey, Yinka says, hello, everyone. Nice quality to start the season. Hope you well, mate. Hope you enjoyed that one. It was a lot of fun. A bit long with all the red flags, but yeah, I say all two of them. Three. We're going to miss 2025 title fight real quick if we get served a thick slice of George every Sunday, says Miss ZZ. Well, this is the problem, and this is why I keep making a point, and I know it annoys people when I repeat myself, but just leave the rules alone. Let's just get a rule set that works, like the last lot did initially, and then whatever, and then just leave it for a decade. Because then you get that convergence like we had last year. We were going to every weekend not knowing who was going to win. It was incredible last year. So, and even 2024 to a point. I know Max won it in the end, but McLaren really turned that around in that second half of the season, didn't they? And were a real threat. So they're just never gonna do that. Formula One's always been the same though. They always change the regulations pretty consistently. So always have, always will, I suppose. Yes, Ian, it is done, mate. We started at 5 a.m. and it's just finished. So it was a little bit longer than an hour and 22 minutes, I think, in the end, something like that. So yeah, it's all over. We've got a grid. Russell, Antonelli, Hadjar, your top three. I don't think this will be the same every weekend, so Stewie. No, I said that earlier, mate. I don't. I think it could all flip in China. It could be the same, but it could all flip around in China, then flip again in Japan. So I think it's going to be particularly in the first, maybe even all season thinking about it, but certainly initially it's going to ebb and flow quite a bit. But I think your top four teams are still going to be your top four teams, but the order might change on certain tracks, which will make it fun and will add to the unpredictability. So also don't forget, these cars, we don't know how reliable they're going to be. We saw a lot of laps in testing, but testing ain't racing. That's your expert analysis. What about reliability? how the car's going to cope with it. What's the overtaking going to be like? Can they closely follow all of that? Yeah. Ian says, damn, the second Rebel curse seat curse might be over and transfer to the first seat. Or Max put the wrong seat in. It's possible. It's possible. No, it isn't. But a great start for Hadjar. I think looking at the rest of the weekend, Verstappen would have been up there without the crash. However, go back to the FP1, 2 and 3 times, Hadjar wasn't that far when you compare how things were for Tsunoda and Lawson and Perez in the end. He wasn't that far off Max. He was looking good anyway. So we might have been Russell, Antonelli, Verstappen, Hadjar, but that would still have been a great result for Hadjar. So, yeah. Reliability will be a major factor early doors for sure, Yinka. Although it doesn't feel as concerning as it did in 2014 at this stage. Now, obviously, 24 hours from now, we might have had 3 cars not even make the formation lap. So let's see what happens. But it was bad in 2014, or it felt really bad. So I don't think it's too bad at the moment. But is it Fader says that I hope the race will be good. Watching the fastest race cars in the world downshift on a straight wasn't exactly thrilling in my opinion. Do you know, I'm going to say it again for anyone who's just tuning in. It's not, that doesn't bother me as much in race trim because you've got heavy fuel, you've got to harvest, you've got to look after your energy. But in qualifying, that shouldn't be happening. The softest tyre, lowest fuel, flat out, fastest driver on pole. That's my biggest issue, is that we're seeing that in qualifying. In the race, I could deal with it. In quali, that annoys me. Because I would say I'm more of a purist than Stewart is, but I'm not a complete purist, but qualifying should be just pure, flat out. So that annoys me. But it might be exaggerated because of this track. It might be different in China, although you've got a long run to the hairpin. Maybe not. But it might not be, it's probably not going to be as bad at other tracks. This was always going to be a tricky weekend for the new rules, and they said that in testing. So, yeah. Merck had over a second advantage and didn't give customer teams the same package, says Perksy. That was in 2014, yeah. The cars were over 3 seconds slower than 2025, says Hercules. Hercules. You know who you are. Thank you for your comment. Again, I said this earlier. We were always going to be slower this year. You tend to be at the start of a new rule set, but over time, we'll get much closer to last year's time. So I'm not massively shocked by that, to be fair. If they start clipping in Monaco golf balls, we're in trouble. I'll give you that one as well. Yeah, definitely. Oh, dear. Oh, sorry. It's, yeah. And I'll always make the point as well, even if, and it's way too early to worry about this, but even if Mercedes are a second a lap quicker in the races all season, they dominate the year, we look close behind between Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and then close again with the rest of the packs. There's still plenty to watch. It's not, the winner is the most important thing because, who wins the championship is all that really matters at the end of the day. But if you enjoy your racing, there'll be plenty to look forward to. It won't all be about that. So, it's mandatory now. Yeah, we were talking about 2014. Is it Johan? We were talking about 2014 when Mercedes didn't give the equal engines, and that's when the rules were changed not long after that, weren't they? Where now you have to give equal engines, but 2014 you didn't, which is why the gap was so much bigger then as well. But yeah. And Nick says, just if they do dominate, just ignore the Mercs if you want to. But the same with Verstappen. If you didn't like Verstappen domination in 23, then ignore him and watch everything else. There's plenty going on. Certainly plenty going on tomorrow. I'm absolutely, even if every car finishes, I'm pretty sure we're going to lose both the Astons, but even if every car did finish, you're still going to have plenty to watch. So plenty of chaos. Pascal says the development race this season will be crazy. I think when we get back to Europe, we will have a far better picture of the pecking order. Yeah, I'll say it. Barcelona. Wait for Barcelona. It's like 8 races into the season, something crazy like maybe 9. It won't be now, will it? It'll come forward a bit more because of the likely cancelling of Bahrain and Saudi. So, development race is going to be mad. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And the pecking order at the end of this weekend won't be the pecking order in China, and it won't be the pecking order at the end of the season. Things will change. We might still end up with the fastest team being Mercedes, but things behind will change as well. The gaps will come down too. So, but yeah, it does. I'm not having a go at anybody. I do see a lot of people. I've had a few comments in the preview as well saying, "Oh, F1's boring. Why'd you bother watching?" But my response is always the same. I enjoy it, and I will enjoy what I want to enjoy. Thank you very much. It's the first point to make there. I'm perfectly capable of deciding what I want to enjoy. But if you really don't enjoy Formula One and find it boring, there's plenty of other things to waste 2 hours of your Sunday on. So go do that instead. I don't need, you know. What's the phrase? This ain't a train station. You don't need to announce your departure. Just go. Go watch something else. Go do something else for your Sunday. I don't understand. You know, you can change channels. It's possible. In fact, I'll do it now if you want. We'll watch the golf. Go watch some golf on Sky Sports Golf. Yeah, that's my view. DTGR77 says IndyCar is much better than F1. It's predictable. There you go. IndyCar more entertaining and unpredictable. I do enjoy IndyCar. I'm not going to deny that. But again, if you don't enjoy Formula One, which I think you do to a point, because I've seen you in the comments quite a bit. So, but if you don't enjoy Formula One, then there's plenty of other things you could do for 2 hours on a Sunday. So, no, I do enjoy Indy. I'd always watch F1 over Indy, which is why I'm a little bit annoyed about Canada and the Indy 500. But I do enjoy Indy. So yeah, plenty of every racing series is different. You can enjoy more than one. So, we'll be watching IndyCar tonight. I'll be rooting for Mick. It depends if I'm awake. That's the reality. I've got to. I can't pop the F1 race on record because, one, I haven't missed a race live since Germany 2000. What a race to miss, by the way. And I've got to be live afterwards with the race reaction, so I have to be up. So it depends whether I'm awake or not. I will record the Indy, so I will watch it eventually, but it might not be until Sunday lunchtime afternoon. But yeah, so I'll be trying to avoid spoilers. British touring cars is great, Moray. Also, for John T, if he's still here, Mazda MX-5 is freaking bonkers. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Crazy stuff. Anyway, race tomorrow. Russell on pole. Strategy-wise, not sure what Pirelli is saying. It's a bit of guesswork. We had 2 stops in the last dry race here, so we could be 2 stops again. But as I said in the preview, the thing you've got to think about is how easy are these cars to follow? Can you overtake? If overtaking is really difficult, teams are going to push for a 1-stopper. If you can overtake, a 2 might become viable. So, but John T made the point earlier, we could get a load of red flags tomorrow. We could get loads of safety cars. That's going to play strategy, playing strategy quite a lot. So, strategy is always the same, though, isn't it? The same answer every weekend for every race. Teams will always try and do 1 stop. It's whether the tyres will let them. So we'll see what Pirelli say tomorrow on that one. But I think a multi-stop race would be nice. But if we get safety cars, timing is going to be everything, isn't it? So it could be really mixed up tomorrow. Edgar, hey Edgar, mate, how are you? Says, just want to stop in and give a like. I'm a bit behind because of the Apple TV fiasco. I'm locked out. A lot of people complained about that, mate. But thank you for your support over on Patreon once again, and for your support over the last... It'll be 9 years this summer, Edgar, if you can believe it. But yeah, thank you. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're having a good one when you hear this later. So the pit lane speed limit is lower this year. I don't think it was low as Perksy. I think that was reported that they dropped it from 80 to 60, but apparently it is still 80. I'll tell you what, that's a very good point. Let's just see. I hope that doesn't open up there. It doesn't. Let's just see if there is an FIA document on this, because I'm pretty sure I read... Yes, I can read. I know. It was a surprise for me as well. I'm pretty sure I read that wasn't true. Timetable. It was quite funny, by the way, if you didn't see it, when they released the official entry list, that they put Alpine down as Alpine Renault. That was quite funny. And that's Pirelli preview. Where's the race notes? Oh, competition notes they're calling them this year, are they? That's annoying. Don't change names. I'm not having that. Oh, apparently I can't open it for some reason. Why don't you let me open it? Oh. Apparently I can't open it for some reason. Have they changed? Yeah, I'll have to look into that then. But I think that was, unless somebody knows differently, let me know. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that was a myth in the end. Charles Edward Cheese hasn't been around for a while. I think we bankrupted him in the end. No, that was incredible. I can't remember. I worked it out, but it was $500 every stream, regardless of when the stream was, for about 3 years. Mad. But if he is listening, thank you so much for your support as well. That was incredible. You really helped to move the channel forward with some of that money, so appreciate that. Johan says F1 ain't boring, following it since 1982. There were times when cars were rolling to save fuel, and it was the 1980s. I've been watching since 92, so not quite as long as that, Johan, but yeah, I never find F1 boring. I've always said it, there's always something to watch, always something going on somewhere. It may only be the battle for 16th, which might bore some people, but that can still be fun as well. So, apparently Charles was on Cameron's channel. Who's Cameron? Josh. I know the name. Cameron's channel. Can't remember. I know it's only one qualifying. Man, I'm already feeling so doom about this season, says Samuel. Try not to, mate. Again, this will flip to a point in China. The gaps will change. Development war is going to be crazy this year. There's a really good... if Mercedes disappear, there's plenty going on behind it. It looks close between Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren. So I think, things will change this year. I wouldn't panic too much after one. Like you say, it's only one qualifying session, so let's see. But it is what it is. Just let's just stop the lifting and coasting in quali. because we lived through the Maldonado years, it feels boring now. That's true. As long as TV footage follows the races in the back and not just P1, says Anthony. Yeah, there is that problem. TV direction needs to improve. We've said that for years, so haven't we? So we'll do predictions in a few. Have you touched on the Middle East situation in regards to F1? We did briefly, Edgar, so we could talk about that for a couple of minutes. The latest on that front is that there is... it's a case of when, not if, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia get called off. Obviously, in the grand scheme of what's happening in the world, that's an insignificant thing, isn't it? But it's still frustrating as an F1 fan that we have this big gap in April. But I completely understand why they can't go racing there. The biggest frustration for me is that they don't seem to be able to get any replacements in when there are short notice, yes, but there are perfectly capable racetracks and people in F1 that can get this done if they wanted to. So, likely to be called off. I suspect, I don't know why I've got it in my head, but I suspect it might be that they tell us they're postponed initially because of contracts and finances, and they might try to squeeze them in later in the year. It seems unlikely there's going to be any kind of de-escalation anytime soon, so F1 are going to have to make a call. They've got, I think I read they've got until after Japan before they have to make a definitive decision. But I feel like they're going to have to make the call pretty swiftly. I did read there was talk about a second race in Japan. The Fuji thing I think the Fiji thing's not going to happen. The Fuji thing's not going to happen. There was talk of a second race at Suzuka. The problem there, and I don't think this is a silly comment, but the problem there is Honda. Honda are the race organisers and sponsors at Suzuka. So if you're Honda, looking at where they are with Aston Martin, the absolute fustercluck they've made of this season so far, do you want to turn up to your home Grand Prix that you're organising and sponsoring and get all your PR out of the way and get home and forget about it because of what could be an embarrassing weekend? Or do you want to stay and do a second race? You're going to want to get that out of the way as quickly as possible. So I can't see Honda signing off on a second race. Although, again, great fan base in Japan. They might be able to sell quite a few tickets for that. And I'll say what I said earlier. I don't think there's any reason why Imola couldn't replace one of Bahrain or Saudi to give us something in April. Yes, short notice, but the track's ready. The funding's there. They're willing. It's in Europe, so logistics are easier. Not easy, but easier. And if Ferrari are remotely competitive, they will sell tickets. They won't sell it out, but they'll sell tickets. So And if, I don't know what the fees are. I know that the reports are that Bahrain and Saudi pay something like 100 million to host the races. Even if, I don't know, Imola pay 5% of that, 5% of 100 million is still 5% better than 5% of nothing. You know, does that make sense? 5% of 100 million is better than 5% of nothing. Yeah, there you go. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So there's going to be a big gap. It's going to be Japan and then a big break to Miami. But for some teams like Aston Martin, that might be a blessing in disguise. It might be a nightmare. But in terms of rearranging the races, the only real option is putting one of them between Baku and Singapore. But that might be tricky logistically. But also, have the teams got an appetite for another triple header? Other than that, you can only extend the season by a week and stick a race on the end, which they're not going to do. So I think it will be a 22 race season by the sounds of it, which is still a long season, by the way. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. It'll be a decision made purely by financials, because I maintain there are enough people smart enough in F1 and enough people who could make this work if they wanted to. But yeah. I don't know. I'd love Portimao. Portimao's back next year, though, isn't it? So that'd be good to see. But yeah, there was some rumor of maybe a test in April to give some teams a chance to get up to speed with regulations a bit more. Maybe that will happen. But if you could put a test on, you know, stick a race on, even if you just made like Imola a 2-day weekend, like we did in, was it 2020, where they did a 2-day weekend? They did practice in the morning, quali in the afternoon on Saturday, and then a race on Sunday. Even if you had to do that, just do that. You don't have to complicate it, but it doesn't sound like it's going to happen, so I'll not worry about it too much. It was 2020. Thank you, Pascal. But yeah, Imola and Portimao. Imola in Turkey. That's possible. Istanbul. Yeah, it is possible. But as Neelish is saying there, and again, I made the point earlier, in COVID, they were able to get these races organised because they had to hit a specific number of races, A, for it to be a World Championship season, and B, so they were, you know, honouring contracts with partners and TV broadcasters. So they've got 22 races. Even if we lose another 4, we're still going to be within that. So yeah, that's why we are where we are. But yeah, maybe they could double up a race somewhere else. Perhaps Suzuka feels like the only one really, but yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. I like Bahrain as a track as well, so it will be a shame to lose that. And Jeddah is bonkers, so here we are, though. I did see some people actually talking about Abu Dhabi and Qatar, but we're way off that yet. We'll see what happens, but look, if you comment, sorry. Yeah, maybe Nick, maybe. Paul Ricard doesn't have the sprinklers. They could do a dedicated race. Yeah, Sergio Rodriguez has tweeted saying they are cancelled and no replacements. Respectfully to Sergio, I find him a hit and miss sometimes. So I think he seems to get a lot right, but I think, yeah, I'll wait for official news. But look, it's a case of when, not if. So they will get cancelled. They just have to make the call. But if it is a case of when, not if, just announce it. Just announce it. Yeah, so I'll tell you what we'll do. No comment. I'm not getting into. We're not going to get into geopolitics. I prefer to try and keep a relatively safe space, but obviously difficult. You know, a nice little safe space away from the chaos of the world. But sometimes F1 geopolitics they collide, don't they? So we have to talk about it. But yeah, get your predictions in then. Top 3 for tomorrow. That's what we'll do. And then we'll wrap up today. I'll take a couple of comments towards the end very quickly. But get your top 3 in for tomorrow. Who are you going with? What did I say? Hang on. I'm probably going to stick with my predictions just because I'm a sucker for continuity. Where are my predictions? I can't remember who I picked. It's a good start, this. I've forgotten what I picked predictions-wise. So I went Russell for pole. 1 point, Sean. Russell for the win, probably 1 point, Sean. I went Leclerc and Verstappen for the podium, so I'm going to have to revise that, aren't I? So I would say now, based on what we've seen, it doesn't affect my picks from Thursday, of course, or Wednesday. I'll go Russell for the win. I'll go I'm going to go for a chaotic race. Hadjar P2. I'm looking at the order. Oh, I'm just saying, just go really bold and stick Lindblad on the podium or something like that. Piastri P3, there you go. Russell, Hadjar, Piastri. Probably will end Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc or something, but I'm going to go Russell, Hadjar and Piastri because it's the first race of the season. I'll go a little bit more bold because, you know, you've got to, haven't you, really? You've got to. They do have a great start. That's why I was umming and ahhing about Ferrari. You would fancy Leclerc to be, if Antonelli gets a podium, you would fancy Leclerc to be threatening for P1, but that Mercedes looks rapid, so will Russell get through anyway through pit stops or with an overtake? But the Ferraris might retire. We'll see what happens, but yeah. Also, what I will say, just as a positive, by the way, and before I come to your predictions, it is a positive. I made a joke in my predictions last Saturday where I answered a question for somebody who said, you know, when will the Ferrari hype die? And I said FP1 in Australia. To be fair, the Ferrari hype was alive until the end of qualifying. So that's a win as far as I'm concerned. It'll do. Golf Ball says Perez, Alonso, Stroll. If Alonso and Stroll gets to the end of the race, I'll give you those points, golf balls. It seems unlikely. Russell, Antonelli, Piastri for Nick. Moray's going with Antonelli, Russell, Albon. I'd love an Antonelli win. I do like Kimi Antonelli. He seems like a nice guy. Antonelli, Hadjar, Piastri, and some points for Audi. Says Pascal. Would love points for Audi. I'd love a point for Cadillac as well. Do you know what I'd love? 10 different teams in the top 10 and just Aston Martin can score points later in the year. There you go. Not likely, is it? Russell, Hadjar, Hamilton's 7 retirement, says Sab Mariners fan. I'm going to stick with my 15. Oh, that's the same, isn't it? 7 retirements, yeah. We're the same then. 15 finishers on Sunday. Anthony says Antonelli, Verstappen, Russell. Stewie says Russell, Hadjar, Verstappen. Oh, Verstappen coming back to the podium. Both of you there with your predictions. I like that. Condenser says Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton. Neelish, I'm so happy to see Lindblad ahead of Lawson already, except Q3 where he messed up. Yeah, Lindblad is quick. It's just is he ready? So far this weekend, looked good. Long season, we'll see. But I do like the lad. Mirek 7 says Antonelli, Hadjar, Russell, Max. They're laughing at the idea of Max getting through. You never know. There is always next year, yeah. Next year's Ferrari's year. Hey, look, long way to go. It could happen. It could happen. Russell, Piastri, Leclerc says Miss ZZ. If Alonso is at the end of the race, I'll eat my shoe, says Perks. Yeah, we will hold you to that. Looking forward to that. I'm rooting for Aston tomorrow now. Brundle thinks only 10 finishes. Yeah, it could happen. Freddie V looks nervous in the interview. Interesting. Fred for Sir. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, thank you, Chef. Pacific Dark says, my first full season as a fan, still getting used to all the technical terms. Being a public school California doesn't help. Well, welcome. Welcome to F1. Welcome to the channel as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll wrap you up in a few minutes, unfortunately. But yeah, live again tomorrow shortly after the race, about an hour after the race, for some race reaction with Chamber. So he'll help you with technical terms. He's very good at the technical stuff. I'm more about the stories, the racing, and all of that nonsense, and he covers the technical stuff, but he's pretty good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. So Stewie says, I think 10 DNFs, and Brundle back to the 90, says Nick. Yeah, so a lot of people, some really nice mixes there of predictions, which is always good to see. So yeah. Did they let Stroll on the grid if at all, considering his only relative times were like 30 practice laps way off the pace? He did hit the 107% in practice, so they might let him. They might let him. But it feels like a bit of a waste of time. Having said that, if he does 15 laps and Alonso does 25, that's 40 laps of practice. So, got to think of the positives. Thank you, Anthony says this is a great channel to start. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. We do our best, or I do my best, and then my guests come on and do their best as well. Look, we're just fans, and we want to talk about F1 with fellow F1 fans. That's it. That's all the channel is. It's not a Poundland the race. It's not you know, anything like that. It's just F1 fans talking about F1 with fellow F1 fans, like we're in the pub, as we keep saying. That's it. Yeah, it does, Nick. It still exists. Killjoy says Russell, Piastri, Max. I can't ever count Max out. If we get 10 finishers, as Martin Brundle's saying, and Max Verstappen doesn't have the issue that he had today, you'd fancy him to be up somewhere towards the front end, wouldn't you? So, yeah, that Stewie says 25 laps. At least they can complete the sprint races. That's true. That's true. Any more questions or comments? If not, then we'll wrap it up. I feel like we're coming to the end now of the stream. Not live. That's a bit dramatic, but yeah, we're coming to the end of the stream now. I'm going to go to bed, I think, for a few hours, and then get up again for the race. At least I have a good coffee in the morning, watching the race before I have to be live a bit later on. So that's not too bad. But yeah. I know you did, Anthony. Yeah, I know, mate. I took it as a compliment. Don't worry. Apparently, I'm another British Lulu Russell Lando fan, according to Mikhail, who clearly hasn't watched the channel before. It's a pretty daft conclusion to jump to. Ask me who I support first rather than jumping to conclusions. He's got a British accent. He must be a British fan. No, I don't even support the England national football team, pal. Come on. Jesus. I can see Stroll refuses to drive the car this season and we get a Stoff return. That'll do. I'll take that, Moray. Sad Mariners fans off to bed. No worries, mate. I'll finish you in a couple of minutes. So no worries there. Interesting details to consider. Hadjar is first only teammate to beat Max in a non-Newey designed car. In qualifying, is that the first? No, surely not. Or to go head-to-head with Max in a non-Newey designed car. That might be what you mean. Sorry, I'm being a bit... Yeah, it's still early, so yeah. No, I'm not going to ban him. He's allowed to come in and make out like a support driver's I don't if he wants to, as long as he's not abusive with it. I don't care. To be honest, it's... yeah. Mikhail says, okay, started when you were in a crib in 94, sir. I started watching 92, pal. So there you go. That shuts that one up, doesn't it? I think I'm unbiased. I don't have any... I'm a Ferrari fan. My biases are Merc have the best merch, Ferrari are my team, and Verstappen's my driver. Michael Schumacher's my hero. So grew up watching Senna. Briefly, obviously, unfortunately. Schumacher, Hakkinen, massively underrated world champion, by the way, Mika Hakkinen, I think. People will now say, well, what about Jacques Villeneuve? He beat Schumacher too, and I'll go, doesn't count. We'll have that argument again if you like, but yeah. I don't mind the banter, as long as it doesn't get nasty, that's fine, but yeah. I did beat you by 2 years, Mikhail, but it really doesn't matter, mate. You've been watching as long as you have, that's fine. Doesn't matter if you're watching 5 minutes or 50 years, just doesn't matter to me, so... I can't be a biased Max Verstappen fan because there are moments where he really winds me up, but I just like he's just a bit old school Max. That's why I like him. Do you know what I mean? But we're not going to get yet. Oh, Gilles, I watched. Sorry, I am wrapping up. We're on one now. We're going back to testing streams. I watched the Villeneuve Peroni documentary film thing again the other day. He would have been a world champion, wouldn't he? Peroni maybe as well, but Villeneuve certainly. Did Peroni win the championship? No, he didn't, did he? No, but I think Gilles would have been the champion as well. So yeah, I'll tell you what. Then, while I'm wrapping up, throw in chat your favourite driver of all time, and it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. But we're talking about Jacques Villeneuve, we were. But Gilles, what a driver. Yeah, my hero is Michael Schumacher. Loved Seb Vettel as well. Yeah. But Max Verstappen. But to be honest, I don't have... It's not the same as when I was a Schumacher fan. I'm not... You know... I'm not that behind Max as I was behind Michael, is what I'm saying. But I don't think there's anybody... A lot of people are going to say you're wrong, because I'm sure people are going to say, oh, George Russell's very unlikable. But I don't think there's anybody really I dislike on the grid, to be honest. Butterboy says, rock on F1 nerds. There you go. Someone was here for testing. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. But yeah, Michael Schumacher, my hero. Yeah, 100%. Miss him. Not the same. Not the same. Look, everyone has their favourite era of F1. Mine was that 90s, 2000s. Or noughties, really, wasn't it? Rather than 2000s. So, yeah. I'm too new to have a hero, says Pacific Dark. Easy to root for Hamilton and Charles, though. Awesome drivers, and the team failed them last year in my rookie eyes. No, you're not. Look, if rookie eyes are spotting that Ferrari failed their drivers, it says it all, doesn't it? But yeah, once your childhood hero leaves, you become less biased on the new drivers. Yeah, there's that. It's an age thing as well, I think. When Michael, right, last story, and then we're finishing. I promise. I say a promise. I'll break that promise in about 3 minutes. I looked at a watch that doesn't exist. There you go. But if Michael Schumacher retired or had a bad weekend, it affected my mood for the entire week. If Max Verstappen has a bad weekend, I'm over it pretty quickly. So it's not the same. I think it's an age thing. I think as you grow up, you kind of get over that a little bit. But certainly when your heroes left, it does change your view of things a bit. But I think we've got a decent grid of drivers, or a good grid of drivers, and I like most of them. There are a couple I'm not that fond of, but yeah. You'd have loved the V10 era, Pacific Dark. The great thing about the V10 era, not just the noise, but a driver could be leading 30 seconds clear of the pack. It didn't guarantee they were going to win. That engine could just go bang, and they're putting a new one in every session. It was crazy. When you think now that they've got to last, what is it, 4 races a season still, or did they go to 5 this year? But yeah, I'll definitely go back and rewatch it. Pacific. If you've got any kind of F1 TV subscription, go watch the archive, Pacific Dark. They've got lots of the old races on there. Where are we going to recommend, chat? Where are we going to start? Where should we start Pacific Dark with classic races? Suzuka, 2003. We'll not spoil it, but Kimi Raikkonen, keep an eye on him. Fantastic drive. If you want pure chaos, Belgium 98 is a cracker to watch. That's a good one. A lot of the races from the 99 season were a lot of fun as well, to be fair. 97. Monaco 97 for a Monaco race was a bit chaotic. Canada 98 is a good shout from Nick. Or Canada 2011. Yeah, don't watch Imola 94. It might scare you off the sport. Yeah, loads to go and watch. Definitely go give a watch. Imola 2005 from a Yinka says there. So get your recommendations in there, and I'm going to wrap up now. So that is it. I'm going to go to bed. That is it. Hockenheim 97. Yes, Pascal. Gerhard Berger's last win, of course. Fisichella raced well that weekend, didn't he? Anyway, I am wrapping up there. That is it for the qualifying watch-along for the Australian Grand Prix before this turns into a 9-hour testing stream. I will be back. So just a reminder, no race watch-alongs anymore this season, apart from maybe the odd few if we've got a reason to be live, like a title decider. But yeah, I'm back tomorrow around about an hour after the race finishes, which could be anything from about 6:30 in the morning UK time till 7 in the morning with Stuart for the race reaction, the return of the race reaction, the much wanted return of the race reaction. I've been nagged about these for about a year now, so very excited to bring them back permanently. So I will be back tomorrow with that one. We'll be live for a couple of hours, so no need to apologise, Mikhail. Honestly, it doesn't. I'm not. I'm too old to be offended by those coming in and making those comments. It's absolutely fine. It's all banter for me. I don't mind. So it's all good fun. As long as nobody's abusive with it, I have no problem. You're not going to have an issue with me. So no need to apologise. But I'll accept it if you're offering it. But it's not needed at all, mate. But yeah. So back with the race reaction tomorrow with Stuart at around about an hour after the race, and then of course the preview on Wednesday. For China, and then live definitely with the quali watch along for China and the race reaction. And we might do a sprint quali watch on a Friday. That just depends on whether or not I can get that one done. But like I say, that is it for this one. Please do drop a like before you disappear, and don't forget to subscribe as well so you don't miss any of that content I've just mentioned there. And once again, massive thank you for your support at the start of the season through testing, and of course on that preview on Wednesday. Really surprised by the numbers, so appreciate your support there. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Formula Sean, and until next time, goodbye.